Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, let's roll, baby. It is a Thursday, and we are Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, hanging out with you. And every one of you guys, we see you in the chat section. We see you streaming. We see you listening. We appreciate you. Hey, happy 247th birthday to the United States Marines. Yes, no joke.
Yes, sir.
Marines are 247 today, baby.
Bro,
yes.
they've been
Happy
kicking ass
birthday.
ever since then.
Kicking ass and taking names for a long time, man. So happy birthday, Marines.
Yes,
And
sir.
only Rob would come up with that stat.
No, man. Listen, if anybody deserves their props more than the usual birthdays that we do,
question.
It's
I
the
told you I
Marines.
watched that. What's that show? I watched 12
12 strong.
12 Strong. That was great. I watched it, man. I sat down and watched it again.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you,
Really
Alexander. Appreciate it.
Yeah, everybody doing well out there. Hope you guys are good, man. Yeah, Derek, you got a gun on one with Merrill Reese. Is that correct?
Yeah, Merrill Reese, it's like I've known him since 1998 is when I really got to know him. And you think you know all the great stories that he tells, and you find out there's always a new twist to his legacy. And on my latest podcast, which is out now, whether it's on the JAKIB Sports Media YouTube machine or Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, he tells a story about how he was slightly intimidated by LeGarrette Blount before he got to know LeGarrette Blount.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to tell you, because if I
Okay.
tell you the story here, you won't listen.
All right. All right. Like it.
That's all
Like
I'm
it.
going to tell you.
All right. You got to check that out. Hey, we have a monster show. I know every host usually starts off any show that they do. Whoa, man, we got so much for you today. Blah, 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 blah. They
Wait,
always give
say
you
that again. Do that again.
We got so much for you today. Blah, 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 blah.
You sounded like P.T. Barnum and Bailey.
But that's usually the way every show starts.
Greatest show on earth.
Or it's jam-packed today. But we are legitimately loaded today. All right, so we have Sal Palantonio at 12:30 from ESPN. We have Al Morganti, who will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, HOF for Al Morganti. That'll be at 1:30. 2 o'clock, former Eagle, former Washington, then called the Redskins, former Giant. He played for 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC East and does an amazing job now as a sports talk show host and analyst, Brian Mitchell. So that is a stacked show. Sal Pal,
Mitch.
B. Mitch, and Al Morganti. Mr. Nuff said himself. Yes. So that is a good show that we have in store for you. So we're looking forward to that. Interesting stuff here today. Well, I want to start with this because I had this quick conversation with Xander right before we went on the air.
Were you talking about me and Barrett again?
Exactly. Oh, never mind. I mean, was that I didn't have any conversation.
All right. I just want to clarify. All right.
Yes. No, but here's the thing. And we were talking about this. It's sort of a quirk in the Eagles schedule, if you will. The fact that they last played a week ago today, and it got kind of swallowed up in, Philly's World Series hysteria, as you would expect, right? So that game, probably more than any Eagles game in a long time, either had less eyeballs or less attention on it, right? Then they don't play last Sunday. They won't play this Sunday. They don't play till Monday night against Washington. This team's undefeated. They're 8-0. And a lot of the chatter out there in the Delaware Valley and in general is quiet regarding the Eagles. And I can, for the life of me, can't imagine how a team that's undefeated right now, the lone undefeated team in football, isn't getting talked about. I don't think it's crazy, and I'm not calling people on the carpet. It's just a really weird circumstance right now around this team. You guys get that same vibe? It's kind of quiet, Eagles-wise.
I think people are still talking, Birds. If they're not, and I'm not disagreeing with your perspective on it, if they're not, is that I think they're still emotionally recovering from the Phillies run by playing last Thursday night, and then, of course, the Phillies season ending on a Saturday. People were emotionally drained. I mean, this city was charged like you haven't seen in a long time, and now they get time to recover because once the Phillies hit the ground Monday night, then it's full bore Eagles until the end of the season. But everywhere I go, whether I'm at mini marts, it's hey Gunner, what do you think about the Birds? Do you think this, that, the other? So there's still, this is Philly, man. Philly will not forget about what is when they have an opportunity to beat their chest, and in this case, rightfully so. They're going to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what?
What do you say?
You know what? I get it because you're talking about the general public because you're in the eye of the general public all the time because you do all that radio that you do. That's all you do is radio, man. But even sitting in the office, and I still go to the office every day,
right? And
NBC in sports, Phillies, we're just still talking more about, like you said, baseball and what the Philly, like right now, the conversation for the most part is, what should they do? Is Middleton going to, stay over the cap? Is he still going to pay that luxury tax?
Right.
He had 70, was it 70 million that he can barter with? Those are all the things that they're talking about as opposed to talking about, all right, we're about to be 9-0. You know what I'm saying? This is uncharted territory for this Eagles team. It should be a little more hypeness. Like it almost feels like we got another week to go. Like they still got another week to go to play. But it's only, 1 day removed from Sunday. It's on Monday. But it's still giving me also the sense that, all right, we're still on a Phillies high. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the Eagles. As our former boss would say, hey, let's get it back to the Eagles. Let's get it back to the Eagles.
Who's that, Barry?
I actually coined that one, Barry. That one.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. Let's get it back to the Eagles, which everybody stole.
So you basically were mimicking Rob Ellis? Is that what you're telling me, Barry?
No, he knows what
I
I'm
deserve
talking
it. I was mimicking people earlier. So
who are you talking about, Barry?
Our former boss at 97.5.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Well, now he would chastise us if for 13 seconds we talked, music came up or
are you serious?
Pop culture,
bro. If we talked 2 seconds about the Flyers,
what
really, if anything other than he give you a little leeway on Sixers, that much, and anything else, if it wasn't Eagles, I'm looking at the metrics here. And
are you serious?
Two people tuned out at 11:58 because you stopped talking Eagles. I'm like, do we know that for a fact, or were they going to work? Were they going?
You both know what I would have done.
Right. That's why
I'd have kept talking about what I was talking about. I say I'll get to that when I get to it.
You missed all that kind of fun.
You missed it, man.
I was
real talk.
I was there for 2 years, but I was doing all Eagle stuff.
You weren't dealing with him.
But dude, it was like, Rob, it was probably in May at the time.
Oh, and the Eagles weren't good. It was a whole freaking thing.
But Rob, we're talking about the Eagles. There's nothing really to talk about because we're right in the middle of baseball season. Mm-hmm. So he's like, well, Barrett's a football guy. He doesn't really know about. I'm like, don't tell me what I know and what I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, the same thing I've been saying for a long time.
He was a pigeonholer. He was a broad brusher. Anyway,
is that person still there?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Anyway, good that he's not. Anyway, hi, Mama Brooks. So a lot to get to, like I mentioned, guest-wise. So a couple things. Let me just update you on this. We're awaiting word at 1 o'clock. We're allegedly at 1 o'clock. Who knows? What is going to come down for the Washington Commanders? We don't know exactly what it is. And it's great that we're going to have Brian Mitchell on at 2 o'clock to discuss it. So I'm looking forward to that part of it. But we just don't know. You're kind of just in a holding pattern right now with them. But the weird thing, and this is so typical of a really horrifically run organization, somehow the Commanders put a release out yesterday.
Yeah.
And they tie the shooting of Brian Robinson into this investigation, and that the District of Columbia's Attorney General is digging into all kinds of stuff. Reportedly, it's financial improprieties. Okay, but we don't know exactly what it is, and the Virginia Attorney General's involved too. This is a whole thing, right? But they somehow put a statement out yesterday, and they say, quote, "Less than 3 months ago, a 23-year-old player on our team was shot multiple times in broad daylight. Despite the out-of-control violence and violent crime in D.C., today the Washington Commanders learned for the first time on Twitter that the D.C. Attorney General will be holding a press conference to make a major announcement related to the organization tomorrow." Like, really? So Brian Robinson's agent, Ryan Williams, goes nuts, basically saying, "Hey, props so far. We appreciate the way you've handled yourself with us thus far, but what the heck is this essentially? Like, how are you tying this into it? That this poor man got shot?" They're an embarrassment. They really are.
He shouldn't have put that up. Here's what I'm reading between the lines is that you keep coming after us for stuff that we strongly feel doesn't exist, and yet you don't take a more serious look at the violence in the D.C. Baltimore area. Now that's the way I read between the lines, but that too should never have been tied into that same dissertation that was released. So the lawyers for the Washington Commanders screwed up in that regard.
And the Washington Commanders organization allowing that to go out screwed up. I mean,
dude, who's running the asylum there?
They're awful. They're awful. They think about it, like they do stuff like that. Their stadium is a cesspool of a disgrace. I mean, you can't sit in certain, Gunner, you can't sit in certain spots without water just falling on you, without toilets breaking and shooting out on you, without a rails break. With a rail almost killing you.
Not only that, Rob, but if it rains, now think about this. It has one of the smaller sidelines in the NFL, okay? When it rains, water collects. Now, all these NFL stadiums are supposed to have these drainage systems. Water collects along the sidelines. You got to step through. Think about it. You have 15, 20 cameras live on the sidelines, and you're bobbing and weaving your way through them to get to your spot, and you got to step through an extra wet surface.
Right.
Cesspool is a nice way of. I have worse things I could say about it.
Yeah, it's a bleep hole.
I have been in every facet of that stadium, and it's abysmal. And then when they don't sell out, I don't blame Washington fans for not going to a game there. First of all, your product has sucked for the last decade.
Correct.
Number one. Number two, you're overpriced. Number three, you make the media feel like third-class citizens. You should see their pregame meals, man. It's most of them are disgusting what they feed you.
Right.
Then you sit in a press box where you have to go like this to see anything happening on the far side of the field. Or you have to look at the monitor above you, which is like a 7-second delay. So by the time you really, and you know me, Rob, I log every play because I've got to talk about it post-game with players and stuff. By the time you're trying to log what you just saw, the next play is already happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst. It's the worst environment in football. That environment is worse than now. Candlestick Park was an old stadium, old concrete stadium.
Yeah, it was.
Outdated. Candlestick Park, the old Raiders Park, the old Chargers Park, when you would go in the tunnels, because they were all made with concrete like all the stadiums were.
Right.
You couldn't get a phone signal. When you have to step out or come closer to a door to get a phone signal if you want to text somebody. That's how dense and old they were. When you would go up the elevator to go up to the press box at Candlestick Park, sometimes the elevator would be shaking like this while you're going up. I'm like, please don't let me be stuck in here if that next earthquake comes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Bro, playing on that turf too. It wasn't even turf. They're playing on the grass, and all of a sudden you're running, and all of a sudden you hit like concrete because the bases were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But at least they were old.
Yeah, but listen to this. Yeah, listen to this though. How about this? We are playing the two worst organizations, front offices, the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks. We've got
the Washington and the Colts.
And the Colts.
Yep.
The worst ownership the next 2 weeks.
Agreed. Yep. Hard to argue. I mean, one organization just hired a guy off the street.
It has some computer dude calling offensive plays now.
Crazy. Yeah. So amazing, really, when you think about what's going on. Makes you appreciate what the Eagles have.
We laugh about the gold standard. We laugh so much about the gold standard.
Yes, we did.
But what has it been?
I know it has been
gold standard.
It has. You're right. You are correct, sir. Yeah. So I just think about how screwed up that organization is in general, man. And we'll see what happens. If he sells, they have a chance.
I hope they force him to sell that team.
Yeah.
You know what else is screwed up? It's screwed up that the captain is telling him I can't go fishing tomorrow because I'm staying in and working with you guys instead of going fishing.
Rain, man. I think we're getting a lot of rain tomorrow too.
Oh, my heart bleeds for you.
Look, no rest fishing tomorrow. He's driving up. Right now, he's driving up from Florida. He dropped his boat off down in Florida. He's big time. Dropped his boat off down.
Why did he do that when there's a hurricane that just hit the Atlantic coast?
Why would he keep it here? He didn't know the hurricane was coming, so he already made plans. So he drove down, dropped his boat off, and he's on his way up right now. Him and Diesel are on their way up right now. I call him Vin Diesel because he looks like Vin Diesel. He just has I'm talking about from the neck down. The neck down looks like Diesel.
Is his boat on the Pacific side or the Atlantic side? I mean the Gulf side.
It's in the Keys.
Wait, let me get this right. I got my geography messed up. Is it on the Atlantic side or the Gulf side?
Atlantic side's in the Keys.
Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where the storm is on the Atlantic side.
Yeah, it's okay. It's safe now. It just turned into a tropical rainstorm now.
Oh, did it?
Storm now, yeah.
They were saying consistent 75-mile-an-hour winds, which is half of what they normally are. So obviously, it wasn't a Category 5.
Bro, the whole storm is a tropical storm. Is over the entire state of Florida. It's not just usually you just get the tips of it with a storm. It's over the entire state. That's how big the storm is.
That's all right. Gator's gonna be swimming from one side of the state to the other. It's all right. That's another reason why I will never live in the state of Florida. One of at least 7 or 8 reasons why I would not live in Florida.
I would live in Florida. I would love it, man. I'd love it.
I love me. I love the heat. You can have Florida. You can have it.
Understood.
Have it.
So busy night tonight. Sixers and Flyers both in action. The Sixers trying to start to string together some quality basketball, which they haven't really been able to do thus far this year. But they're in Atlanta. The Flyers, the Sixers are under 500. The Flyers, who have been a surprising team so far, they are taking on Columbus at home. They will be hosting Columbus tonight. Actually, I'm sorry, they're at Columbus tonight. And then they're hosting Ottawa Saturday. So that's what the Flyers have on tap and the Sixers have on tap. Sixers have it at Atlanta and then home against Atlanta on Saturday.
That's going to be a good one because Atlanta just gave the Bucks their first loss.
Yeah. No, yeah. Right. That sets up to be a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah. And Trey Turner didn't even play the other night. I mean, what's the kid's name? The guard. Trey Young. I'm sorry. Trey Young. He didn't even play.
Yep. Yeah. No, Atlanta's off to a 7-4 start, and the Sixers are 5-6. So Atlanta's playing pretty well right now. The other thing is I keep waiting for a semi-decent matchup on a Thursday night football game, and we ain't getting it tonight, boys. Falcons and Panthers.
I think that's a quality matchup.
You like that one, Derek? Okay, enjoy it. Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, enjoy, friends. Enjoy. Trying to make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what, again.
Right. That's going to be the worst, man. Marcus Mariota is doing what?
Yeah.
He got what? Oh, they got Cordell Patterson back, though.
They do, which is big for them. And you know what? In fairness, Atlanta at least is in it. Like Atlanta, by default, because of that division is such garbage. But they're 4-5, and so are the Bucks.
That's what I was going to say. Hey, don't be making fun of Atlanta. They're a playoff team right now. Don't be making fun of Atlanta.
It's unbelievable, man. It really is. A little later in the show, we're going to do a Did You Know NFL segment. I'm going to throw some things at you guys and our audience here, and that may surprise you a little bit. Either how well somebody's doing, a team's doing, or somebody you may have never heard of and what they're doing. One of the things, and Derek, you mentioned this the other day. Yeah. I think one of the things that I would love for us to do in the first segment of the show every single day, unless we have something really pressing or breaking news, is you want to fire something at us, at the collective of the three of us, or at Barrett or Derek or myself individually in the chat room. Fire away. You know, any good questions we will answer and react to. And again, Doesn't just have to be the first segment. It could be the entirety of the show. But if you do have something really good, it would be a good time to hit it in the first segment as well. So just want to put that out there.
In my case, you get 2 for the price of 1 because you'll get an answer from Derek and you get an answer from D Gun. See, so you get
I like that.
You might get 2 different answers.
You know what? Where else are you going to get that? You're not
I'm
going to
just
get that.
telling you. Exactly. I'm just telling you.
I
You
like
might
that.
get 2 answers.
Oh my goodness.
They may contradict each other, but you might get 2 answers depending on the topic.
That's pretty good.
That's why I love doing this show, man. I love doing this show because I mean, you say you might get 2 answers, one from D Gun, one from Derek.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, you guys will know me.
People will understand what we go through in the pre-show meeting.
Yes. Hey, look, you know, I told you, man, I've turned over a new leaf, man. You guys keep telling me I haven't, but I'm out to prove you wrong, and soon enough, I will win you over. Just letting you know.
I like it.
Bro, just understand this, people. We had the same boss at one time. Same boss, me, Rob, and Derek. And one time we were sitting there, and Rob would never. We were sitting there, and we were doing something. We had to get something. It was like, almost immediate. And then all of a sudden, our boss turns around and says, "Hey, I don't know if we can do it, but all I know is D Gun's got to do what D Gun's got to do." I said,
"What?" Make a T-shirt.
What was that? What was that? I'm like, why would you say that?
Oh
and he just stood there, just as proud as ever, crossed his arms, just as proud. Like
because the boss understood who
you see how he's sitting back. Look how he's sitting back now.
The boss understood who D Gun was. You two have yet to understand this. The boss understood me at that point. Had put in enough time dealing with me to the point which just waved a red flag and said, "You know what? I give up. I quit. I give up."
So you got more leeway than we did.
Yes,
I did.
Be real.
And I don't know how, but I did.
You did. You got away with it. You got away with some stuff.
With everything.
Fitness
I
Rebel.
wouldn't say everything.
No, a lot. Fitness Rebel says, is the Trey Turner talk legit? Yeah, Fitness Rebel, I think it is.
I agree.
He's got a relationship with Bryce Harper dating back to when they played with the Nationals. Those two are tight. They're friendly. Bryce Harper's a great recruiter, as we've seen, with some of the guys that he's landed here over the years. So I think it is quite real. I think that the move would be he plays short, Stott goes over to second, and then all of a sudden, with the way Bohm's improved, you got 4 really good pieces if you include Real Muto in that infield. From a fielding standpoint, he's a contact hitter. You could lead him off. You could move Schwarber down to where he should be, like 4 or 5.
Yes.
A lot of things you can do here. So I think it is extremely real.
And that means Segura's gone. Segura's out. If that's the case. Yeah.
That's what it would mean. Yeah.
But you're not paying him $17 million and paying this guy whatever you got to pay him.
Heck no. He would be out. Philly saved about $75 million. Now that doesn't include what the raises are going to be for some guys, but they've chopped off some decent amount of salary here as we go into this thing.
Now, can you pull up William Stark's question? I've never heard this before, so I wonder if there's a punchline to it. What is this? Have you ever eaten burbot lobster, aka poor man's lobster?
Thought you guys might know what that is.
Is that a fish? Is it a fish or I have no idea.
I don't know what that is.
Man, that sounds like indigestion personified.
Sounds like something you put on a bagel.
Or put it on fried rice.
It is.
Let's see here.
Okay, it's a freshwater fish, cod-like.
Okay. I've not had it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought I'd heard that name before, but I'm thinking, what the heck is it? Yeah, no. So
it looks like a cross between a catfish and an eel.
Oh no, I have not had
freshwater cod. Yeah, you know what? Cod, ling cod is so good, man. I love ling cod, man. It looks just like an eel almost. You know what I'm saying? But it's great fish. I can see that. It's a freshwater. Oh, it's a freshwater cod.
Okay.
I
gotta figure this out. Yeah. Okay.
Well, William Stark says we ice fish for it. Where do you live, William?
That's
Alaska? Awesome, where do you live?
It's actually in Wisconsin. It's a Wisconsin fish that they ice fish.
You
should know that, Derek. Come on.
Nope. Yeah. I've ice fished, but I've always ice fished for like pike, walleye, perch. I've never ice fished for a burbot. No.
Can we improve the pitching? Yes, absolutely. You can improve the pitching, Jason. I think their goal is to get maybe a Rodon. I don't know if you get Rodon and you get Trey Turner, but I think they realize that they absolutely need a fourth starter. I think at some point, one of those young kids, the Painter-Abel combo, I think they hope to have them up, but not to start the season. So if you come out of the chute with Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, or if you get a really big gun, you might move them behind Wheeler. But those four, then you figure it out. You go with a Bailey Falter for a little while, maybe. I think there's a lot that you can do.
So
you know what
you guys have picked up?
They picked up 2 young pitchers that were
they're just kind of guys. Yeah.
Okay.
But one of them, you look at his stats. His stats are quite impressive.
Yeah.
And you know what? We keep talking about big names. If you have the right scouting staff, you can find some good young talent where you don't have to spend exorbitant amounts of money to bring them in. You know, you can get some good young dudes out there, but you got to have the right scouting staff. You've got to have the right eyes and ears out there that are beating the bushes, like the GM that's down in Miami, who discovered the likes of Abreu and Valdez and all these guys. I mean,
how about Astros also? The Astros also. You know, we're just saying the Astros said that they went down to Puerto Rico or somewhere.
The scout they were using turned them on to the Astros, but he's now the GM in Miami.
Oh, okay.
So in Miami, what does Miami need? Pitching. Who better to put in a position like that with a team like Miami that turns over every 3 to 4 years?
Right.
I mean, so he's in a great position. But this guy supposedly has beaten the bushes. I can't think of his name right now. Beaten the bushes and found all these gems, all these Latin American gems that are thriving now in Major League Baseball in terms of pitchers. It's unbelievable.
No question. And look, the Phillies realize that the beauty is Dave Dombrowski, when he took over, he cleaned out a lot of that front office, and I think they have much better baseball guys in there now. So I feel good about him, figuring this thing out. That's for sure. Look, keep the questions going. We're going to get a quick timeout here. We have Sal Pal coming up momentarily, but we'll have Sal Paolantonio. We will have Al Morgani. We'll have Brian Mitchell today. So it's a big day on the show. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. Sal's up next. We'll talk to him about the Birds, everything NFL wise, his bold prediction on who may play in the Super Bowl, all kinds of stuff in store.
Hey, Rob, not to cut you off, but make notes of a few of these questions. A few of these are good questions that we can come back to later in the show. Like, Jonel Julian has a great question here. Some NFC executives saying the Eagles will be 1 and done in the playoffs.
I didn't see that. Okay.
T Car, do you think Hurts will get a mega contract this offseason?
All right.
If you can't
we will do that. Yeah. And fire them back at us too a little bit later in the program. All right. Quick timeout. Come back. Sal Paolantonio, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, right? Because finding the right person to turn your money over to, your hard-earned money for your future, can be a scary proposition, right? I was at the front of the line for a very long time, but I found the right person, and that is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, if you have a new employees at your new business, you're trying to figure out employee benefits, whatever the case may be. For me personally, I have entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers to Jim. I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. That's how you can reach him via phone. You can email him as well, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
And we are back. We are two out of three ain't bad. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks will be joining us momentarily, and certainly big show today. A show that we are really excited for. That's for sure. And joining us as he has before, friend of the show, and does an incredible job. Correspondent for the NFL, reporter, writer extraordinaire, the one and only. And you can see that brilliant book of the Philly special behind him, Sal Palantonio. What's happening, Sal Pal?
Rob, I'm doing pretty good. We're week 10 in the National Football League. This is where, as Ron Jaworski always likes to say, the rubber meets the road. We're playing November football. So, and the Eagles are 8-0, an historic season. Really excited about the last 2 months of this season. I really am.
No question. I mean, how can't you be, Sal, with the way this is set up so far this year and the improvement you've seen with this team? But I know for you personally, you're always sort of forecasting. You're in the moment, but you're looking ahead a little bit and you're trying to follow the trends, what teams are doing what. And I know you love doing your bold predictions as well, but give me a sense of, let's have a little fun here. We can do this. Okay. The team's got to concentrate week to week, but who you think it could be the big meeting here in Phoenix, Arizona, when it all counts for all the marbles, as they say?
Well, that will be my 30th Super Bowl, believe it or not.
Whoa.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Oh, my God.
So I just made a bold prediction. I sent it to D Gunn during the week for ESPN.com, asked me to make my bold prediction for the end of the season. And I got a one-word answer from D Gunn. Wow. I love this. I love this. He said, so I originally had, Rob, the Bills and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but now with Josh Allen's elbow injury, which is really problematic, I think the Chiefs. So I'm looking for Andy Reid, the ghost of Christmas past, against those Philadelphia Eagles in Arizona in the Super Bowl.
I'll reiterate that. Wow.
Okay.
That would be a shootout.
Oh my God, the storyline, Sal.
Yes. Right. So Rob, even though I may be wrong, you have to root for the best story for yourself,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Right.
So you did mention Philly special. So clearly I'll have to write the sequel if the Eagles beat Andy Reid in the Super Bowl, right?
Yes, I love it. That's all. Hey, look, it's not improbable, right? And you're right. I mean, the Josh Allen thing is a very big deal, but Sal, I'm amazed at what Andy's been able to do. I thought he should take some time off after the Eagles, but man, that guy just keeps rolling. It's incredible. It really is. But I want to start with the Eagles here from your standpoint. Earlier, a couple weeks ago, we would always say, oh, it's the Bills, it's the Chiefs, it's the Eagles. Can we throw that out now? I mean, are the Eagles now the team to beat in your estimation, or is it still the AFC teams?
No, I think you have to carve it up AFC and NFC. Okay. We're still in week 10. They are 8-0. They are playing an NFC East divisional opponent on Monday Night Football in the Washington Commanders. They have to dispatch them now. Mm-hmm. And, sweep the series. And, all indications are they will. So let's look at where the Eagles are within the big picture of the NFC and the NFL as a whole. So right now, going into Week 10, Rob, there have been 75 one-score games.
Mhm.
We are in a one-score league in the National Football League. And there have been 75 games decided by 7 points or less. That's an NFL record.
Wow.
Jeez.
So we're in a one-score league, except if you play in Eagles Green, right? They've only played 2 games that have been one-score games, at Detroit and at Arizona. And they had the second highest point differential at home. The Bills have the highest, so the Eagles have the highest in the NFC. If you're going to knock this team off at home, you really have to come with your total A game, and you got to hit them hard early and surprise them, and then hold on late. And I don't really see any team doing that. Really, I mean, I don't see the Washington Commanders doing that. I don't see the Titans doing that. I don't see the Packers doing that. I certainly don't see the Giants doing that. I think the Eagles remain undefeated at home. That's, to me, is the big picture, because they're playing so well at home. I talked to Nick Sirianni before the game, usually about 40 minutes to an hour before the game. I've done it like 4 or 5 times this year. And I always like to ask him, message to the team, either the night before. You've seen me either put it on Instagram or talk about it on ESPN. It's kind of my calling card. People kind of look forward to it and they say, oh, yeah, it's the formula. Okay, whatever. But the point is, I want to know what the coach, Barrett, come on, you want to know what the coach is saying to the players, right?
Exactly. You want to hear the message.
You want to hear the message. What was the speech like? What did he say? And he always says to me 2 things. I told the team we got to win the turnover battle, and we got to win the explosive play battle, the 2 double positives. And right now, the Eagles are on a historic pace for turnover battle. They lead the league in turnover ratio and takeaways. And get this, Rob, the Eagles lead the NFL in explosive plays on offense per game. That's the first. They've never done that before. They didn't do it under Doug. They didn't do it under Andy this late in the season. They lead the NFL. Explosive plays are defined as runs of 10 yards or more, passes of 20 yards or more, and the Eagles lead the NFL going into the Week 10. Wow. That's amazing to me.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's almost like
Sal bringing it, man, right out of the
I know. See, Sal, you bring up the fact that you think the Eagles are almost unbeatable at home, but you look at the rest of their schedule. Can they run the table and put some heat on that 72 Dolphins perfect season?
That's a long way, right?
I know. I know.
I know. So we haven't been professional athletes. Barrett has. And, it's hard for me to sit here, and I would never, predict that a team is going to go undefeated, because I know each NFL game is a car wreck. It's like 20 car wrecks.
Yep.
So, anything could happen. Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood right now. Anything could happen because you got 20 car wrecks every week, each and every week. So you got to hold on for dear life in terms of remaining healthy as a football team, and especially at the quarterback position. So we see quarterbacks go down all the time in the NFL, which Josh Allen, he hit his hand. He got a ball knocked out of his hand. I was at that game last week, and now he's dealing with an elbow injury, and that changes the whole approach of their team for the season. So that's the number one thing. But if they stay healthy, and I think that they can, and I think the reason is very simple. You got 2 coaches' sons running the show, right? And, Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are pushing one another. They're both sons of coaches. And when you have sons of coaches like that, they've been hearing it their whole life since they were 5 years old.
That's right.
Week to right, Barrett?
Yeah.
Week to week. You got to grind this out. Don't tell me what you did last week. Don't tell me what you're going to do this week. Tell me that's all Jalen is about. That's all Nick is about. They put it up on the wall. Right, the here and now. They put it up on the wall. It's called the dog mentality, DAWG. And they both subscribe to it. and it has become addictive in their own locker room.
Well, just in saying that, you can see how they're starting to protect. A colleague of mine wrote an article day before yesterday about how they changed how Jalen's game is being formulated now. They're running him a lot less. They always have it in their hip pocket. He can always pull it out, but they're playing a little more drop back quarterback, and he's able to do that. So you look at that. Is he up there with the MVP race still? Is he number one right now for you or number two?
He gets my vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mine too. Mine also. It's 8-0. He has to be the guy.
Right. If your team's undefeated and you're the starting quarterback, you're the MVP. We don't really need to explain that. That's period, paragraph, move on to the next topic. Right? Come on.
But Sal, how about they're done. That's
Next.
it.
Yeah, next.
But it is amazing when you think about, not that we didn't know the work ethic was there and the coach mentality, son mentality, but his ascension, man, it has been pretty remarkable. And I think there's a lot of credit that goes around. They got him A.J. Brown, which clearly helped. They have Nick Sirianni. He's in the system for a second straight year. But this dude is a worker, man.
And I think that's the number one reason why they're 8-0. Going undefeated halfway through the season is not easy.
Mm-mm.
The Eagles have never been 8-0 in their franchise history. So that tells you right there, it's not easy. It's not easy trying to figure out week in and week out. It's a very competitive league, but it's the mentality that you have. And that is driven by Jalen Hurts and by Nick Sirianni. And so they're the only team in the NFL in the top 5 right now in points scored and points allowed.
Yeah.
So, Sal, can you put in its proper perspective the job Sirianni has done with this team and how they've bought into him?
Well, not only is Jalen the MVP, but Nick Sirianni at the midway point is the coach of the year. No question in my mind, and he will get my vote 100%. So what Nick has done, I think, is Derek, he set it on early in March. Jalen Hurts comes out of the playoff game with a busted up ankle, has surgery the following week, and there were a lot of question marks swirling around the city. Mm-hmm. Is he the guy? Can he lead this team? And I have to give Sirianni and Harry Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie a lot of credit. We're all in, and they had a detour. They sniffed around the whole Deshaun Watson thing, and smartly they decided not to do that. Yep. They decided not to do that for a lot of different reasons. And, thank goodness they didn't. So they went all in on him and decided, okay, we're gonna do this, and if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it the right way. So they missed on Justin Jefferson, they missed on Metcalf, they missed on JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So they had to go out and get him a number 1 receiver, and the Titans wound up deciding they weren't going to pay him. So they got A.J. Brown, and I think that is one of the top, in my view, and I've covered the team since 1993. So I think it's one of the top moves this franchise has ever made in terms of free agency, ever.
Ever. You're right.
Hard to argue. Who would you say, Sal's the biggest threat in the NFC? Is it in division? Is it the Giants, Cowboys? Is it the Niners kind of lurking there a little bit? Does Brady resurrect? What are your thoughts on the conference?
So you never want to play Brady, right?
Yeah.
you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to kill him.
Yeah.
It's hard to put him down. And you saw that with the Rams last week. I think the Niners are scary. They lead the league in points allowed.
I agree.
They have a championship defense.
Yep.
So I actually have the Niners at the Eagles in the championship game.
Okay. Wow.
Well, what happened to those teams like the Rams, Tampa Bay? They're sending back up a little bit, but Green Bay. What is going on in Green Bay? How are they going downhill like that?
All right, let's start with the Rams. Let's start with the Super Bowl champs, right? Barrett, that's the obvious place to start.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Whitworth. He retired. That was huge.
Huge.
Hey, Barrett, I'm preaching to the choir. Offensive line, Barrett. You don't got
Starts in the trenches.
No, come on. You don't got an offensive line. Forget about it. Look what Joe Burrow sacked 77 times in the Super Bowl. Sacked 7 times in the Super Bowl, 70 overall. He was 3 points away from winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Crazy, right? You got to have an O-line. So it starts there. Von Millard bolts, no OBJ. And so Stafford had elbow problems all throughout the summer. There's your reason. Mm-hmm. Packers, the reason's in Las Vegas.
You're right, Adams.
Right? So, Aaron Rodgers decided to get paid, and there was no money left. And so they had to trade Adams, and now he's been searching for months for an offense, for a passing game. So nobody can get open, so he's back there holding it, and he's getting sacked. He's getting hit. Old guys don't like to get sacked and hit.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. And he's telling him about it too. He's telling him about it.
Yeah, he's telling him, right. So that's Packers, and the Bucks. Like I said, I have tremendous respect for Todd Bowles. In the end, with those 2 linebackers and Brady, for me, if I'm the Eagles, I don't want to be playing the Bucks in the playoffs. I just don't. I just don't. But I agree with D Gunn. I think it's the Niners that are the biggest threat in the AFC to the Eagles. And
they laughed at me, Sal, when I said that. They laughed at me. And I'm telling you, I'm just kidding. But I think the addition of McCaffrey has given that offense a boost if he can stay healthy. Him with Deebo Samuels and George Kittle and Garoppolo, I don't put him in the echelon of being a great quarterback, but I think he's a great manager of an offense. And that's a dangerous combination because that defense is nasty. They're bullies. That's a bully defense.
Yeah, it's very different from the Eagles. The Eagles play a matchup zone defense. Yep. They're not going to bully you. They're going to be smarter than you. And they got a really smart defense and a defensive coordinator who has all the pieces now, of course, without Jordan Davis, to play matchup zone, to play, the Vic Fangio defense, which is what he wants to play.
Hey, Sal, what in the world is going on in Indianapolis? I think when you talk about major embarrassments in the National Football League, you start with the Washington Commanders. And I think right now Indianapolis is number 2 in terms of what has happened to that organization.
So we play next.
Yeah. I think it starts with the fact that they haven't been able to figure out the quarterback position, and that dysfunction has trickled down. Everything gets solved if you have a quarterback. If you don't, then everything is up in the air. So I think that's the bottom line. And now he's, really thinking outside the box and hiring my former colleague and good friend, Jeff Saturday. So, it's an outside the box move. It smells of desperation. No disrespect to Jeff Saturday, but it smells of it's like, okay, how in the world can I get people to keep coming to Lucas Oil Stadium, right? Mm-hmm. My team is bad. I got Sam Erlinger playing quarterback. I can't score against the Patriots on the road. I got to have bodies in the building. What do I do? Well, I tell the feel-good story of Jeff Saturday, and that's a good feel-good story, but I don't know how many football games it's going to win you.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
But it is the entertainment business. You got to put fannies in the seats, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I don't fault him for hiring Jeff Saturday, but it's definitely an entertainment and desperation move, and we'll see if it works out football-wise, and I hope it does. I wish all the success in the world to Jeff Saturday.
Sal, if you stay there in the AFC, are you buying the Jets and the Dolphins? You believing it?
Well, I've seen both teams twice this year, Rob. I just saw the Jets beat the Bills. And I got a really good perspective because I was in the ESPN radio booth as the analyst with Steve Levy calling the game. So when you get that kind of perspective, it's kind of cool and different. Yeah. And the Jets front 7, even though Sheldon Rankins is now out with an injury for about 6-8 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, Rob, the front 7 is mean. It's a mean front 7.
Yes, they are.
Oh, yes, they are.
I just don't think
they can play. They can
believe
play.
it.
They can
I
play.
believe it.
So listen, I got their game next week. I am not going to Indy. I am going to Foxborough, and I want to see if because I expect the Eagles just roll through Indy. Again, I hate to make predictions like that, but I want to see if the Jets can go on the road and beat the boogeyman, Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're speaking of the boogeyman. I mean, the boogeyman pulled off a big win last week. Are you buying that the Patriots are a threat to anybody in the AFC, the heavyweights in the AFC?
I think down in the end, no.
Okay.
Can't beat Baltimore. Can't beat Kansas City. Can't beat Buffalo. Probably loses to Cincinnati, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who am I leaving out?
Miami.
Probably loses to Miami.
Miami.
Right, Rob? Yeah.
Who's always
Probably
giving them
lose to
problems.
Miami.
Yeah. They've
Miami's-
always given them a hard time.
So
I
I
would
was-
say that you hit them all, I think, right there. Maybe I don't know, Chargers, but I don't know if I'm completely in on them either. But yeah, I think you hit them all.
Do you think that the Giants' whole mantra is gone now? That everybody's figured them out, and from this point on, you think they'll be able to still compete at that level they were the first 5-6 weeks?
Well, they're coming off the bye and they got a major injury on defense. The guy got into an
Xavier
accident.
McKinney. Yeah.
McKinney. Yeah.
Yeah, he got into an accident, unfortunately. I hope he comes back soon. He's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
But they got the defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. They lead the NFL in blitz percentage.
Yeah. Yep.
They're the only team over 40%, Rob.
Yeah, they're not
They're
afraid.
the only team over 40%. The Eagles are actually, you know what? The Eagles have bumped up the last couple of weeks. They're now at 25%, which is the highest they've ever been under Gannon.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I think it wasn't pass blitz. They were run blitzes to stop the run. So, it's a lot different from the pass blitzing. They were run blitzing, try to heal the bleeding the last 2 weeks with them trying to stop the run. Teams have been running on them, so they have to, so.
Well, that's smart. I mean, they got to. So, if we're looking at the deficient, potential roadblocks or potholes for the Eagles, I would say clearly you can't have a rookie running back run all over you like they did in Houston. That's got to be fixed. I think
absolutely.
I think it comes to tackling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes back to what Barrett was saying. Are you blitzing enough on rundowns? In other words, are you putting 8 guys in the box, and are you shooting the gaps and trying to create penetration? The number one enemy of the run game is penetration to the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely,
we all know that, right? So they play gap and a half defense. Are they going to play single gap defense where they just are trying to get as much penetration on obvious rundowns? Because they do have the secondary where you can be a little bit more risky.
Yep.
So that's number one. I would say going back to number 2, the piece that you referenced, Barrett, if you're going to play action, 5 and 7 step drops for Jalen and play the deep ball game, you better do a better job of protecting them than you have in the last 2 games. I thought against Pittsburgh right after the bye, when they rolled out this different offense, that he got hit too much in the pocket.
Yes, he did. That's Mailata. He's got to come to work. Mailata's got to play better. He's been getting beat the last 2 weeks like a drum. So he knows he has to change. I don't know what it is. He, maybe gain a couple of LBs, or he's just not playing explosive. You got to play explosive. So is he injured? He better get right, get playing well quick, because they need him. They really need him.
Well, that's one thing. I think Jalen's got to get rid of the ball quicker.
I
think he's got to see it and throw it, see it and rip it, grip it and rip it.
There you go.
He's got to grip it and rip it. I mean, it's got to. He's been very good at that this year. His snap to release was over 3 seconds last year. Was last in the league of all starting quarterbacks, and this year it's been about 2.2, 2.25. And it's gone up in the last couple of weeks. So I watched that because that's something that was a point of emphasis that was pounded into him this summer by the quarterback coaches that he saw out in California. Just grip it and rip it.
Sal, I'm surprised you, in all your dissertations, that you haven't mentioned the Cowboys as a possible threat. I've said that they have the quickest front seven on the snap in the entire league. Dak is back, but are you buying what the Cowboys have been selling at this point?
See, I have it in my contract. I don't have to really talk about the Cowboys.
Amen. Amen. Can we all get that in our contracts out, please? Can you negotiate that for each and every one of us? Thank you.
That's why we have Ed Werder, baby. I pray to the ESPN gods that Ed Werder is my colleague forever. And he does a great job covering the Dallas Cowboys, and so does Todd Archer. But no, I didn't mention them, and it was by omission, not on purpose. You know, they are in the top 5 in points allowed in the league. And to me, it's like in baseball. Team ERA is always the determining factor in who wins the World Series. Always. It's like a very rare that it's not. The last 20 World Series, you look it up. If you're number 1 in team ERA, you rarely lose the World Series. And points allowed is the number 1 determining factor in who wins the Super Bowl. It's never points scored. It's always points allowed. More teams have won the Super Bowl who have better points allowed than points scored. So Niners, Eagles, Cowboys, Bills. Let's see. I wrote it down. Here we go. Bills are number 1 at 14.8.
Yep.
Denver, they're not going anywhere at 16.5. If they had a quarterback, they'd be pretty good. Well, they do have one. He's just not playing well.
He doesn't resemble the guy we used to know.
No, Rob. Cowboys are number 3 at 16.5 points per game. Eagles are right behind them at 16.9.
Yep.
And the Bucks are at 18.2. So as you know, Rob, if you're 17 and under, right? 17, that was the magic number. And Barrett, you're going to remember this. This is what Jim Johnson always used to say. Listen, you just keep it under 17 points, and we'll win the football game, right?
I keep telling these guys, I told them 17 is the magic number. Remember, guy, I keep saying this every day. 17 is the magic number for defensive coordinators. And Jimmy said, if you keep it under 17, we'll win the game.
Absolutely. He used to say, Sal Pal, we're gonna break down the protection, and we're gonna protect the house.
That's it.
That was it.
That
was the whole defensive philosophy, scheme, approach, tactics, everything.
It worked pretty well. That's
yes,
for sure.
It did.
Sal, last one
God
from
rest
me.
his soul. He was great.
He was the best. He was absolute. People forget he was a quarterback at Missouri in college. It's crazy to think.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Steichen Gannon, hotter coaching candidate, you think, heading into next year? Good problems for the Eagles if people are plucking your staff. I get it, but who would you say is hotter right now?
Well, Gannon had those interviews last year, right, Rob? In Houston. You know, going from lieutenant to colonel or general is tough to do.
You know, you're a Navy man. Yes.
Yeah, I always use those military terms because, you know, you want your head coach to be the general of the team. You know, he's the field general, and you have lieutenants who do all the chores, you know, put together the game plan, have the meetings, and call the plays. You want to have the big picture in your head. And that's why I always liked the idea that Sirianni gave it up last year. I liked that. And, you know, he came under quite a bit of scrutiny for that. Not criticism, but like, what are we doing here? How come he's not calling the plays? Well, it turned out to be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Gannon. Just because of last year, he got a couple of interviews. But, you know, the way that Jalen Hurts has turned into an MVP candidate like that, I think Steichen's going to get a lot of interviews.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Sal, listen, remind everybody, where are you this weekend? Where can we see you? Which game do you have?
You know, I'll be at the confluence of the Schuylkill Expressway and I-95 in South Philadelphia.
Okay. We know where that is. Yes.
In the concrete jungle down there.
Okay.
Well, Monday Night Football, you know, we got the ESPNs on Monday Night Football's on ESPN. Well, we're gonna throw a big fat Eagles party down there, so I will be for that. I'll be there for that.
I like it.
The NFL matchup show, if you don't mind me mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NFL matchup show is on ESPN2 on Saturday morning and ESPN on Sunday morning, and you know we have a new guy on. It's Darius Butler, who played 9 years in the NFL, and he's been terrific. And of course, everybody here knows the great work done by Greg Cosell, and we've got a piece on Eagles Commanders that will be in the show that I think people will really enjoy. So I'll be, doing that. And then, hey, when you're at the hometown team is 9-10-0, you're not going anywhere.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing, right?
Exactly.
You're not going anywhere. You're settling in for the wife's lasagna and you're sleeping in your own bed. And it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life.
We'll be right over. We're very hungry, Sal. So don't worry about that. Always insightful, Sal. We love catching up with you, and thank you. Appreciate you giving us a couple minutes today.
Thank you, man.
much.
I really appreciate it, man. I miss you too, man, because I used to be his producer, for like 3 years, working on a matchup show with him. He said, Barry, what do you think of this? And I go find what he was talking about. Appreciate it. So I did that for like 2.5, 3 years for Sal. Appreciate it every time.
Sal, it's all your fault that Barrett's turned into the megastar that he is. We can blame you.
He had megastar written all over him right from the beginning.
Thanks,
Sal,
man. Appreciate
it. You have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, you got it. ESPN national correspondent. Man, Sal brings it. Right out of the shoot, he was firing stuff.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Explosive play numbers, everything.
Right.
I love it.
There you go.
See, I like it when you learn things when you talk to people, right?
Exactly.
And I learn things from you guys every day, but when our guests, when we learn things, little kernels, little nuggets here and there.
Absolutely.
To me, that's what it's all about, and that's why you have guests on. Frankly,
exactly.
That's for sure. All right, we'll get a quickie here, guys. When we come back, we will keep talking birds. We'll keep talking birds, NFL. We'll play a little Did You Know? NFL. I'll fire some stuff at you guys.
All right, here we go.
See if we get the curiosity going.
We're about to learn something, right?
We are about to learn. It's learning today, Derek. School is in session.
Learn that I don't know. That's what you're gonna learn.
I always say I'm just smart enough to know how dumb I am. That's when anybody asks me. So I
use that all the time.
Yeah. Amen. All right. Quick time out. Come back. We keep it rolling with the football talk. A little later, Al Morgani, who's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and then of course Brian Mitchell. If we get any word on what's happening with the Washington Commanders, we'll pass that down as well. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right. Pro Action Restoration. If you got a home, you got a business, you have a property that's gone through the pain and the suffering of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you know how trying that can be, right? They are the people that you call. Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you from personal experience, it happened to me on a Saturday. I called them. The crew got right out there. They diagnosed the problem. They fixed it. They cleaned everything up. The price was reasonable. The crew was unbelievable. And they will help you as well. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. Again, it could be any of the above: water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it. They can handle it all. Or if you're not really sure, just give them a call and get a consultation. 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
What's up, everybody? We are rolling here. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Just wrap things up with Sal Palantone. If you missed any of it, you can always go to jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube Network to check out any of our shows, any of our interviews, etc. So just wrap with Sal. 1:30 Al Morgani, 2 o'clock Brian Mitchell will be joining us as well. All right. So a little football, a little NFL. And I thought we'd play a little Did You Know? Okay. Where I'll just throw some things out there to you guys that caught my eye when I was doing some research today. You realize it's been sort of a mediocre to kind of year for the New England Patriots, but Matthew Judon has 11.5 sacks already.
You know, I didn't know that, man. I knew he was a good player.
Oof.
You know, and watching him, you know, he's kind of the spearhead of that defense. But I didn't know that he had that many sacks. Talking about under the radar, he is flying way below the radar as far as, you know, what teams are, you know. I mean,
he was excellent for them last year, too.
But, you know, he runs around, you know, and he has that unassuming number. You know what I'm saying?
Number 9.
Number 9 is like, you don't even think that he's a defensive end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 9.
He's out of Grand Valley State. He was a 5th rounder that Baltimore drafted him. But a 5th rounder out of Grand Valley State. Man, Baltimore must be kicking themselves.
They've got to be kicking themselves. Exactly. Yeah. He's way under the radar. I saw him running around making plays, but I didn't know that he had that many sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been awesome. He has. He's really been awesome. And it's it's kind of lost with them not having a great year, you know, but he's been awesome. All right, so the other one, the leading tackler in the NFL is Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks, not Barrett Brooks, not Brandon Brooks. Okay. Jordan Brooks.
How about Foster
Seattle.
Brooks?
Yeah, I'm serious, man. He's got 90 tackles already. This guy, he was a 1st-round pick, a linebacker in 2020 by Seattle, and he's really, you know, just kind of blossomed. But
where is he from?
90 tackles. I couldn't believe when I'm looking at some of his numbers, and obviously Seattle, a lot of our attention went to just how unbelievable they were offensively to start the season, right? But you look at this guy, man, and people need to start paying attention to this cat. He's got not only he has 9, he's got a couple pass defense, and he's forced to fumble, you know, et cetera. But he's unbelievable. He's out of Texas Tech.
Texas Tech guy.
Yeah, he was the 27th pick overall in the 2020 draft. So,
well, you know what, Rob? In some ways, we shouldn't be surprised because he had 184 tackles last year. 100. Get this, 109 solo tackles last year.
Now that's the incredible part right there. 109. So most linebackers get 109 with you know, assisted and unassisted tackles together. But he had 109 by himself. That's crazy. This guy's a tackling machine.
Yeah, this thing's everywhere.
He's a tackling machine. But here's what blows me away. He's been in the league 3 years, he only has 1 QB sack in his entire career. So you would think if this guy's a tackling machine, he's got 90 this year, 184 last year, he's got to be making a lot of hay behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, see, and that, not to say anything about, stats, statisticians, but sometimes they give tackles, like I can remember back in the day, we'd be playing Baltimore and Ray Lewis would just put his hand on the tackle and boom, that's a tackle for him.
Established guys will get those.
Luke Kuechly, not to take anything to, but Luke Kuechly made a lot of plays 10 yards down the field.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, when I say tackles, impact tackles are what I really want to see. Impact tackles are tackles either 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage or 3 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So, impact tackle, that's what I want to know about your impact tackle. So you may have a lot of tackles, but it might be a lot of tackles where he took you for a ride 5 yards down the field. But I'm going to have to start paying attention to this kid. Definitely 180-something tackles. I don't care where you tackling at. That's still a lot of damn tackles.
And he doesn't even spell his name the traditional way you spell Jordan. There's a Y in there. D-Y-N, not D-A-N.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
You and your son spell it right then, huh?
Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
That's what he wanted to get to.
Just like Derek is properly spelled the way I spell it, not all these D-E-R-E-Ks and all this stuff.
It's D-E-R-E-K.
No,
that's
it's not.
Derek.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry,
no.
D-E-R-E-C-K.
No. People just messed it up, So,
bro, that's the way I got it in my phone. D-E-R-E-K.
It's because you can't spell. You flunk spelling.
Sound it out. Derek.
Oh no. It's
Derek.
No, it's
Derek.
Derek. Not Derek. No.
Derek.
See, you messed it up. You're one of many who messed it up. See what I'm saying?
Like, is it Rick? Is it R-I-C-K, right? Rick.
DeBrickashaw Ferguson. What a name that was.
Yeah. Is that a football name or what, man? That's a name right there, man.
That sounds more like a movie star name, DeBrickashaw.
Yes.
What was that safety? The safety from USC. He had the best name ever in the NFL. What was his name? A safety. He got drafted by the 49ers, I think. Never really did anything though. But he had like the best football name in the world. What was his name?
I don't know.
Major.
Major Goldsby? No.
Major Harris? No. Major Harris was a quarterback. I'm talking about
Major Harris was a quarterback in West Virginia.
I remember that.
West Virginia.
Yeah, he was good, man. He was good.
Yeah.
He was from Pittsburgh and he went to West Virginia.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big rivalry right there, man, with those guys. The backyard brawl. All right, so a couple. I'll throw some more at you here. This isn't a surprise, but it's just an acknowledgement of what a start this guy's off to. Tyreek Hill's got 1,104 receiving yards already.
Say it ain't so.
Already.
Yep.
Like, man.
And he's had musical quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's 3 games where with Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson mixed in there.
Right.
Justin Jefferson can say what he wants. Stephon, Diggs can say what he wants. There's no question Tyreek Hill is the baddest receiving entity on the planet. There's no question about it.
I'll tell you why else it's crazy. He's got Jalen Waddle right next to him. Jalen Waddle's got 47 catches for 812 yards.
That's insane.
Okay. So, I mean, think about if he didn't have an absolute stud next to him and you were focusing even more on Tyreek Hill, what it would look like. And I know the defense has to account for Waddle, and that helps Hill too. One hand washes the other, one or scratches the other. I get it. But it's amazing. It really is what he's doing.
You can put 3 men
always
on Tyreek
open?
Hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How is he always open?
Always open.
Yes.
I mean, you know where the ball is going.
Yeah.
And you still can't stop it?
Crazy speed.
They double team him. They triple team him. Yep. You still can't stop Tyreek Hill. And like we just said, he's had 3 different guys throwing him the ball. This man, and the funny thing about it is he only has 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
For as many yards as he has.
That is hard to believe.
That's hard to believe.
It's unbelievable.
But look at Waddle, though. Waddle is getting all the touchdowns because everybody's concentrating on him. And all of a sudden, he's wide open for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill's averaging almost 123 yards a game receiving.
Jeez. Amazing.
That is crazy,
sick.
man. That is, man.
Hey, the hits keep coming for the Raiders. They're placing Darren Waller on the IR.
Wow.
Not that it even matters at this point. They
weren't using him in the first place.
They weren't using him, and it's a hamstring, and they're beyond cooked anyway. But yeah, he's going on the IR. So
It's the curse of Barrett Brooks continues.
I'm telling you, man. It
Bro,
really
I just
is.
put that voodoo on him, man.
You put the Maloik on him.
There's no way they should be that bad.
No, they shouldn't.
Honestly, there is no way they should be that bad.
I was talking to Rich Gannon about this, and granted, he's a former Raider and won an MVP with the Raiders, so he definitely has a loyalty to them. He said he thinks they will get this thing turned around in the second half, not to the point where they're a playoff team. No, but it's not going to look like this the rest of the year, is what is according to Rich, for whatever it's worth.
Well, it can't get worse.
No,
Right.
it can't.
There's nowhere to go put up.
Although maybe it can now that Waller's out, but I don't know. He hasn't been much of a factor anyway. All right, let me give you a couple others. Aaron Rodgers, sorry, Gunner, has 3 more interceptions than he had all of last year already.
Yes, he threw 3 in one game. He's never thrown 3 in one game. Wait, it's been how many years since he's thrown 3 in one game? But we said a few weeks ago when we were doing over-unders, and we all agreed that we felt that this would be the first time in a long time he would throw double-digit INTs. Well, he's just crept that much closer to that number with the last game against Detroit.
Yeah.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I just step back, 3-step drop, throw it up. Whoever catches it, catches. I don't care at this point.
You know what, man?
I don't even care.
You made me mad, though, man. You making me mad.
Who?
Because
me?
Because I wanted to make fun of you, and I can't make fun of you because you stopped me from making fun of you 3 weeks into the season.
Didn't I tell everything I told you is come to fruition, right?
It's making me mad too because I really wanted to make fun of you, and I can't make fun of you because you've already said, "Look, this team is so bad, I can't watch them." Like,
I'll watch them. I'm numb. You know how when you watch your team, whatever sport it is, you get that adrenaline high and low. I'm flatline. The rest of the season, I'm flatline. I'm dead serious.
We got a little word here on the Washington Commanders. All right, so let me update you. This is from the Washington Post. So the office of the DC Attorney General, that's Carl Racine, said Thursday it is filing a consumer protection lawsuit against the Washington Commanders, Daniel Snyder, the NFL, and Commissioner Roger Goodell, accusing them of colluding to deceive and mislead customers about an investigation of the team's workplace to maintain the franchise's fan base in pursuit of revenue. Quote, faced with public outrage over detailed and widespread allegations of sexual misconduct and persistently hostile work environment at the team, defendants made a series of public statements to convince district consumers that this dysfunctional and misogynistic conduct was limited and they were fully cooperative with an independent investigation. These statements were false and calculated to mislead the consumers so they would continue to support the team financially without thinking they were supporting such conduct. Okay, so the gist of it is, it's a total cover-up from the team, from the commissioner, from the league regarding the depths of what was going on there. And they were doing it to not drive people further away is what the finding is. As of right now.
That means Uncle Sam is like, yo, this isn't happening. You guys on purposely, along with the league and this ownership, lied to us so you can keep tickets coming in, people sitting their asses in the seats.
And merchandise and TV and everything involved.
Because it was a lot worse than even what we thought.
Right. Now, here's the issue, right?
You're telling me the commissioner is a part of the cover-up?
Yeah,
right.
Well, shocking. But this is where the other owners are going to say, this dude is bad for business. He's got to go. And this is why he's going to end up selling, because this is where they start forcing him out. They start forcing Goodell's hand to stop protecting this clown. And this is where it starts. This is where it begins. But there's going to be more than this.
What does it mean? There's going to be a case against the NFL then, too.
Yep.
And you can't be once you start messing with the NFL money, they don't play, bro. They don't play.
They're seeking financial penalties under the CPPA for every incident in which the Commanders, Mr. Snyder, this is for the quote, the NFL and Commissioner Goodell lied to district residents dating back to 2020, adding the defendants could face millions in penalties.
Wow.
I don't understand why the commissioner would try to cover up for them when it came out allegedly that the owner said he could bring down the commissioner with a number of allegations or a number of findings that he could potentially have against the commissioner. Number one. Number two, even if the Washington Commanders don't put a body in the seats, they still get TV revenues. If they had nobody, you realize each team's getting over $500,000 with this new TV contract with the NBC. It's over that, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 32 teams are getting that kind of money, whether you put people in the seats or not?
You almost can't screw it up. I mean, Snyder's done the best he could to screw it up, but you almost can't screw up an NFL franchise. It prints money.
Unbelievable.
It prints money.
It's unbelievable. But if now for the Attorney General's office to come out with this, now you have to follow it up and reveal these allegations. You can't just put out an outline like that, which means when you make an announcement like this, you are sitting on a powder keg of in-depth information that you have. And when push comes to shove, and it will come to shove, you are going to reveal everything that you've just outlined today with this announcement. I can't wait to see what they have in terms of in-depth stuff on this Washington franchise, from the sexual misconduct allegations, mismanagement of money, deception. Dude, this is like a cloak and dagger espionage movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is, man. When you're lying to the public, because knowing that the public would turn their back on you for everything that's happened to the sexual immorality, the misogynistic way in which they ran their organization.
Yes.
That whole area would have turned their back on them. The District of Columbia, all that would have turned their back on them, which revenue would have been taken out of. I mean, they did everything to try to change from being who they were, from changing from the Redskins to now the Commanders. No, it was the football. The Washington football team to now the Commanders. All that stuff was a facade to keep them from looking at what's really going on behind the scenes.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I'm looking at this quote that just came down from what's his name, Rob? R.A. Marab.
Carl Racine.
No. The reporter for Pro Football Focus. His name is R.A. Meirov. Marov. He said Attorney General Carl Racine says this: the evidence shows Mr. Snyder was not only aware of the toxic culture within the organization, he encouraged it and participated in it. He dictated everything.
Wow.
Dude, it's going to be you got to sell his team now.
The cover-up finally will be exposed.
The cover-up, and there should be some jail time if that's happening. Bro, that's against the law. You going to jail, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You going to jail.
Let there be a lesson to you, Barrett, of how you've lied to my family all these years about me.
What have I lied about, Derek? I've lied about nothing. I just made myself available to come to your home, break bread with your wonderful family.
D Gunn has been looking for an avenue to call you out for a long time, and now it's on a silver platter.
What was it? What?
I don't have to reveal anything yet.
So
there's nothing to reveal. I've never worked for that organization. I didn't play for
that organization. No.
He referenced Snyder did the allegation. So Racine referenced the allegations against Snyder on the cheerleader shoot. That whole thing. And according to Racine, quote, his trick. He blamed repeatedly the victims. Like, this is going to get really nasty. He said these attempts to deflect away attention from himself and blame others do not stand up to the scrutiny. It's all coming, man.
Okay. Now, if they back Snyder in the corner, which they have with this announcement today, now I want to sit back and see if Snyder comes out swinging in terms of that anonymous quote that came out saying that he has stuff to bring down a lot of the high-powered owners, present and former coaches, so on and so forth. Now, how will he respond? You serving? This is where it gets to serve and volley.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, what will you do? Because if he opens up that can of worms, you don't turn on a fraternity like that. If he does have some stuff and he starts dragging down other people with him,
he go Nino Brown him, baby.
This could blow up the league, man.
He doesn't strike me as one who won't, when his back's up against the wall, come back firing. Like it's going to be misguided probably, but he won't. He's going to do something. Snyder will.
That's what I'm saying, Rob. Rob.
Yep.
I don't know anything about Daniel Snyder. I've seen him walk past me several times. Little short dude. Always walks like he doesn't see people. I don't know anything about him, but just reading all this stuff, and he gives me the impression that if you mess with me, I'll mess with you back.
I agree. But here's the thing about this one.
Yeah.
Kiss me and I'll kiss you back.
Well,
Not me,
this also alleges that Roger Goodell and the league covered up too.
Yes,
So
that's what I'm saying.
That's where this
scary,
gets
dude.
into a
Yeah,
really big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
gonna
a
get ugly, man.
biggie, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly and
Yeah.
deservedly so, man. Because there's no way if there was hundreds of thousands of emails, then we only know the emails.
650,000.
Yeah.
650,000. We only know the emails from Gruden.
Yes.
Imagine all the other stuff that they've been emailed.
The feds are holding on to that stuff for a reason.
But that's also where you knew it was obvious that this was a cover up and a witch hunt. That's all that came out.
Exactly. So I'm glad I ain't emailed anybody.
This is about to be a down and dirty heavyweight fight. Because I guarantee you, Snyder's lawyers are going to come back swinging.
Yeah.
Snyder's lawyers made that rebuttal yesterday, and should not have put Brian Robinson's name in there, but they came out. Now, where do they go from here? Because they're not going down without swinging. I'm telling you.
No, they're not. And he's got plenty of money, which means he is going to get the best attorneys in the world. You know that.
He went to an island.
Yeah.
Yes.
He went to an island was chill. Yeah, he went to go chill at an island and you know what? I'll stay here until I really have to come back.
Right. That was his way of not having to testify. Absolutely. Right. Fascinating. All right. So Brian,
here's where we are though. Where we are though. I want to know what Daniel Snyder knows now.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like this. Okay. All right. The service.
Begin.
I want to see what he thinks he knows if he starts name dropping.
Yeah, I think.
And I want to see how other owners start backtracking if he says certain things.
Wow. All right, top of the hour, Brian Mitchell is going to join us from DC. We'll get his take on all this. When we come back, we talk to a Hall of Famer, the man himself, Al Morgani. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, Rob, right back.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
Hey, everybody. Welcome on back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, the great guests just keep a-rolling. Yes, we now are joined by Hockey Hall of Famer, the man himself, Al Morganti. Al, hasn't set in yet, man. You are a Hall of Famer.
The hockey guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, everybody makes mistakes. I guess they do in the world. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people have called now that it's the weekend. Hear from a lot of players and stuff, so it's pretty cool. I'm gonna try to enjoy the weekend. See a lot of people. I'm gonna see Davey Poulin up there, Brian Engblom up there. Lindros gonna be up there, so it's gonna be pretty cool.
Do I have to start referring to you as Mr. Morganti after this weekend?
No, I'm just, I'm from Massachusetts, so, we're all massholes, as they say. So,
Al, walk us through the weekend, man. I know you're headed to Toronto, and you just mentioned some of the people you're going to be hanging with, and you're also going with Bill Clement, which is pretty cool, man. You guys worked together for a long time. But I hope you don't have to follow him from a speech perspective, because you're a dead man if you're following him. Let me just tell you.
I'm pretty afraid of that. Although, I got to say, Rob, in my athletic career, I was on the JV a lot, so I was used to playing the early game. So I can roll with that. It's okay. They'll roll in the varsity after me, so that's fine. It's fun. It's kind of amazing going in with somebody that, like, I literally covered in 1978 as a player, and then at ESPN and at NBC, and we were together for so many years. So it's kind of unfortunate for him. He's going in with me, but for me, it's like great. It's just kind of like just going along for the ride as usual. I'm in the sidecar of every motorcycle and every trip I've ever been in.
Very smartly, by the way. Yeah.
Al, in all seriousness, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, because I'm, having to get to know you through the years. I mean, I'm just elated for you to get this honor. But is it like almost uncomfortable for you?
Yes.
Because I know when we had you on the show earlier this summer, you said, I never imagined this in my life. Is it like an uncomfortable situation for you?
It is. I don't like spotlights. I mean, I don't know how I ended up in the media. I don't like to talk, and I don't.
You've only done talk radio for 30 some odd years.
I don't understand it. But what a country, huh?
Oh.
Stuff like this. It's uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable. It's funny, like with players, ex-players, and writers that I'm, covered the sport with. Yep. But I'm uncomfortable otherwise, because I guess with hockey, you're always kind of in a shadow, as it were. Kind of, there's a whole community there. It's like we're secluded. It's a bit more now with all the USA success, but it's kind of like weird. When you're out there and like, you're the number one thing going on. Not what's it called? Trending.
Yeah.
I'm not a trending guy. I'm never happy to be trending. We used to say at ESPN, go out, have a good time, but never be the news of the day. News of the day.
Man, I can't believe I'm not gonna be able to see you this week, man. I'm used to coming in, I'm ironing my stuff. Hey, Iron Man, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, I see him ironing his shirts every time before. Now you get to work with Taryn. For years, I had to work with Taryn. I feel like Willie Nelson with Taylor Swift. I'm like, oh
my God.
So you know what it is for me? It's BB King and Tyler Swift there. That's what it is. It's BB King and Tyler Swift there.
Yeah, so now I'm listening to Billy Strings concert in Philly this weekend. So I'm like, I'm a little confused.
Well, what's the plan, Al? You'll go out.
What? Did you say plan?
Yeah, you and plan never work together well. Have you written down a word of what you're going to say?
Everybody says I cannot write anything down, because then if I stumble, I go back, and so I just have to, whatever comes into my head and doesn't go out the other too quick.
God.
Then I just...
Al, here's
rope, baby.
Here's the best way to approach this, Al.
Yeah.
You get your award.
Yeah.
You look at the crowd, you look down. You look at your award, you look down. You step to the mic and you say, I'm humbly honored. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. And walk off the stage. Drop the mic and just walk
have
off.
A good time. But
Yeah, just walk off the stage.
You got to say something. I mean, my wife and daughter are going to be there, so I got to say, like, thank you for letting me provide.
Thank you for letting me get up every morning at 2 a.m. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It'll be a blast, I'm sure. It's going to be fun. Jonesy will be there. I told him, he says, I got to have notes. I said, Jonesy, I'll give you cue cards. You hold them up from the back of the room, and I'll read them from there.
Perfect. And Jonesy, he'll screw them up on you, though. You know.
Oh, no question, no question. No, he's gonna have, like, fart signs and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like
it'll be like Chip Kelly. We have a picture of like Donald Duck or whatever it is.
Hey Al, let me ask you this real quick. Years from now, will you ever go back to the house?
Alive how much longer, Gunner?
All right, whatever. Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase that.
A couple of days next week.
Okay, weeks from now, immediate months from now.
Yes.
Will you go back to the Hockey Hall of Fame and visit, your statue, the bus, and all that stuff just to walk? Will you do that?
If I happen to be I'm actually going up. I'm going to be 70 next year.
Okay.
The only two bucket list things I have is to see fish at Red Rocks and to skate the canal in 70 in Ottawa. So maybe next year when I go up there to do that. But otherwise, the only good part of that is I don't have to get a headstone. I can tell my relatives, just go up to Toronto. There's a plaque there. It's fine.
You save yourself a little money. It's all good.
You can actually still skate. You still skate?
Yeah, I can still move about. I mean, it's amazing. I'm pretty lucky that way. I guess that's when you're not good enough to play in the league. You kind of keep your hips and knee shoulders and stuff.
Yeah, you're not as beat up. Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Al, you mentioned it. Like it's not in the States as much, but Canada, obviously the focal point is hockey. Is it like crazy? Are you doing like a million different things once you get up there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I do a lot of stuff at Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, even Winnipeg, to do stuff. And I've become like a native son. I've been in Canada so often. I love Canada. I just enjoy the hell out of being up there. I mean, I've even done like fly fishing and stuff. I never thought of this stuff. Yeah.
What?
Just going to Canada. And it's been a blast, and it really does mean a whole lot that it's in Toronto. And look, I love USA Hockey. Tony D'Angelo and Johnny Gaudreau from right here in South Jersey. But there's a special stage right there to be in Toronto for this, and it means a whole lot to them. It's a very big deal. And the players going in, there's 3 Swedes going in, and Roberto Luongo, who's a character as a goaltender. Mm-hmm. But especially the Swedes, because I was one of my best friends was Pelle Lindbergh. And so I'm very thankful going in with 3 Swedes. Not that I'm in the same, but I'm in like the cottage next door. But the Swedes are going into the real Hall of Fame. And, to be part of that. And Borje Salming, he's going through a very tough health thing right now. He's going to be in Toronto. So I'm very happy for that, because I just always had an association with the Swedish players because of Pelle, because I was so close to him.
We lost Pelle. The accident happened. I think it was the anniversary was yesterday, Al.
Yeah.
Sadly, what an amazing career that would have been. Who was your favorite guy to cover?
Rick Tocchet.
Okay.
I was a tough guy, great guy. I'm still very, very friendly with Tocchet. He worked here in Philly for so long, come back, did some TV. Jonesy was too short of a period of time to. Now I'm very obviously with Jonesy, but Toc was to me everything like that a player should be. Really tough, fight anybody for the team, score goals, just do everything. He was just a terrific teammate. Called out the coach when he had to, Keenan. He was the best. Jonesy was the most fun. At the end, Jonesy. I remember when he got traded here. I watched him walk down the stairs, and I have the same agent he has. So I called Steve Mountain and said, Steve, he can't walk. And Steve said, shut up. So waited till after the contract to write that.
Smart. Yeah. That's it. Steve's my old agent. That sounds like Steve. Yeah. He used to tell me to just shut up half the time anyway.
Yeah. When I got an offer from ESPN, he said, but when I went up, he goes, now, when you go up there, if they offer you a job, make sure you kiss both feet. I said, okay.
What is wrong with you?
I got to ask you, you've had an unreal run on the morning show. I mean, to do it as long as you guys did, you and Angela, particularly Rhea as well, but you two have been together for a really long time. To do this over 30 years is unprecedented, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that kind of success to?
Well, it really is only a tribute to sports. Because people always ask me, how can you do this for 30 years? And I said, well, you wake up every morning and you hear another jackass braying. So it's another story. This is what happens in sports. No matter how dumb you are, 3 days later, somebody can do something dumber or more or better. Like a World Series. Look what's happened in Philly in the past.
Crazy.
It's a. When I used to work at newspapers, they had election. We just had an election. I try to stay out of it, whatever. But so when they would have elections at the newspaper, they would go into this room and like have 8,000 people and pizzas ordered and all this stuff. And I'm like, we do that every night. Every night there's chaos in sports. You're acting like the world's ending. There's a meteor coming. No, we do this literally every single night. And that's what sports is. You know what it's like. Like, you don't know what the phone's going to ring. It's like somebody got traded. Somebody did this. Somebody did that. It's like, that's how it happens. And frankly, because it's Philadelphia, the fans are just amazing. Just you saw what happened at the bank over the World Series. Flyers fans. It's just look, I'm from Boston, and I think they're terrific fans, but they don't participate like Philly. I love Philadelphia fans. They like to say, people make fun of us, but we're like everybody else. And when you tell them they're like everybody else, they say, no, we're not. So,
well, Al, let me ask you this. Man. Since the old man passed away, Mr. Schneider, you had a relationship with him.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? Right now, what's going on? Which is
it's up and down, man.
Right.
It'll never be like it was with that. I mean,
and that's what I wanted to get to. How's it changed since then?
It's changed throughout sports because to have that kind of ownership, if it's a good person, what's going on in Washington, obviously.
Right.
Jerry Jones actually, and I know people go crazy trying to compare Snyder with Jones, but they keep their team in the spotlight. They want to win so badly. I think the fans just related him and I know it. He just wanted to win so badly. It was incredible. You could feel it with him during a game, and then he'd scream and yell at you, and then call you a day later, go to lunch and discuss whatever. But there's a difference. But I think that's across sports. When you have corporate ownership, as you do, everything's changed. You're much more I think right now a lot of the teams feel like they're a member club in whatever league than they are an individual entity. You've got to be a member club. This is how you proceed with your business. Share this, share that, whatever. But Snyder was just, when I came to Philly, people always think, well, you're going to go to a big market, Philadelphia. I said, yeah, really, I got offers elsewhere. I said, the reason I came to Philadelphia was the Flyers. I went at Snyder because I just knew that they were always going to, whatever it took, however much dumb money it took or whatever, they were gonna spend it. And then what he did was he made them feel like they were bigger than the Eagles or the Flyers. So those Flyers teams under Ed Snyder, he loved the criticism, though he wouldn't admit it, because it made them bigger. And he wanted them to feel when they lost, like you're letting everybody down. The whole fan base is upset at you. People, that's what he had. And it's missing not just here, but it's missing in a lot of places.
Yeah, there is that personality. Go ahead, Gunnar.
Hey, Al, I hate to bring this up, but it's a big question. Your colleague Angelo's run is about to come to an end.
Yeah.
In December. So what are you going to do? Are you staying in the morning show? Are you doing what else? What are you going to do?
No. I know I'm not staying in the morning show. They want to talk to me about doing some other stuff, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Whatever. Look, okay. I'm a player. I mean, if they tap me on the shoulder, I go on the ice. If they don't, I don't. It's as simple as that. And I have no complaints because my God, it's been a lot of years there, so they've been fine to me. But I mean, mean, if they ask me to do some other stuff, I mean, I'm willing to do it. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's podcasts, which you guys are doing, which seems to be seems to be the future in what's going on. So, you know, maybe get involved in some of that. But I'm pretty I kind of feel like I can still do stuff. Like I still have fun doing it. I'd miss being just completely out. I got to do something. I don't want to play golf and God forbid learn how to fish all day. And no, it's like I ain't doing
pickleball, Al. Pickleball.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean
I love pickleball.
No, I refuse to play pickleball.
Come on, Al, get on.
That is the white flag.
Yes, I'm waiting.
I used to say you go to Dixon, you could tell your life. You go first, you go to the baseball, then you go to the softball. And I used to go to the hockey, then I went to the tennis, then I went to the golf, then I went to the fishing, and then you die. But now I have pickleball after fishing. So that's how I look at sports.
I'll greet you there. Yes.
Hey, Al, but Al, isn't that refreshing though to be almost 70 years old and still be in demand? I mean, you think about it. You know, most people, our fathers always said, "When I get to 62, I'm going to retire and I'll do what I want to do." But you know, we live in a day and age now. If you're fortunate, you still can do a lot of things that you enjoy doing in the industry that you've been in for decades, and I think that's a blessing, man.
And I think it just also goes to show that what we do ain't that hard.
I didn't want to say that, Al. I'm glad you brought it up. But
Al will always level it right back.
55, I'm done. 55, I'm
no,
fishing.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
So, okay, so let's say you retire. So what? I've got friends that are retired. So what do? They watch hockey at night, then go to McDonald's in the morning and talk about it in voices that they think nobody else can hear.
No,
they ain't doing that. Might as well get paid for it.
Right.
You can always join us on JAKIB Media, Al.
That's right,
Al. I'll be a free agent for the first time, and I'll hopefully stay with TV because I love covering hockey. There's no game I don't like to see. I mean, I'll go coach. I'll do anything. I mean, the game's meant everything. I'm like literally everything to me, from the people I've met to who I married to where I live to everything. Just I have made connections from I go way back to Herb Brooks and Jackie O'Callaghan. All those guys were friends of mine in school, and I made every connection I've ever had has been through hockey without any talent. How good is that?
Did I see Al? I forget what game it was. It might have been 2 games ago. I get it. They all run together at this point, but they had you and Michael Barkan doing an behind the glass hit, and Gritty is just to the left of you guys. Was I imagining things there, or was that like a weird dream I had?
He was right behind us. I did a couple of shows with Michael. Michael's he can be pretty high maintenance, but I love him. he comes out and he's sometimes it's hard to throw Michael a curveball. So he's making fun. I had to wear the Cooperalls before the game.
Yeah, the Flyers wore last night.
So I'm wearing them, and he's making fun of him. I said, "Oh, look at you with your pocket square." And he goes, "Yeah, but it's got my initials on it." And I said, "That ain't all that's on it, buddy."
Most fun guy you worked with in the TV or radio realm?
Oh man, it's Jonesy.
Jonesy easily,
no, I mean, I could write. He doesn't read, so I wouldn't write a book.
Didn't he write a book that he never read? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I edited it. I edited it. So did Jonesy, because he wouldn't read it.
Yeah.
So I edited some of it. I think it sold 9-10 copies, maybe double digits. I don't know. But the story, like people say, what do you remember about TV? I said, I will tell you the one biggest moment I ever had in television was with Jonesy we used to call it Hungry for Hockey during the strike, where we would do a show but we were supposed to do it outside, but we had to move inside because of bad weather.
Okay.
So we go inside, and we're in the concourse, I guess it's called, and the curtains are drawn, and they have sound checks at these places. But when a band plays, they'll have a sound check, and so there's singing going on and all this, and Jonesy's getting frustrated. So he tears open the curtain and goes, "Hey, lady, can you just give us 5 minutes? We have to do Hungry for Hockey." It's Barbara Streisand.
Oh,
what?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Did she react?
Oh, yeah. We didn't do the show.
Oh my God. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, lady.
And it's Barbara Streisand.
Oh my God.
Wow. What did she say?
She pointed to somebody else to come up there, and they told us we can.
Yeah, one of the handlers took care of it. Yeah,
it was not good.
Oh my God.
It's been interesting.
What?
I knew the moment I came to Philly, the moment I said I'm going to stay here.
1980, right?
1970. Well, here's great. So the Flyers, they hire, the Inquirer hires me. They bring me in, and I tell the guy, here's what you need to know about me. You got a pretty good baseball team. The Phillies were good at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, but this Richie Hebner, I said, you look at him as a baseball player. I look at him as a hockey player I played with in high school. So that's where I'm coming from. And then I remember, like, they hired me because they wanted somebody to be tougher on the Flyers. Okay. They went 35 games in a row without a loss.
Yes.
They set the record. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be really tough on these guys. And then, we're coming after the bullies, right? Yeah. And I remember Keith Allen was the general manager, and he'd sat in front of me in the press box. We were right on the ice level almost at the press box. And Sports Illustrated came out with the cover of it, Violence in Hockey, with a Flyer mask on it. So Keith is enraged, and he turns to me like I did anything, goes, violence, violence, violence. If I hear that word one more time, I'm going to kill somebody. Okay.
That sums it up. Yeah. Oh my God. That's awesome. I got to ask you, modern day, what did you think about the Phillies run?
Oh, it was awesome. What it did for the fan base is remarkable. I love baseball, being, Red Sox fan forever. And I loved it when they had their run here. And I think it revived it for another generation. That's what I'm hopeful for. The baseball in the playoffs especially is great. I know people say it's slow, and it is. And I just hope more kids play because of it. It's a really difficult game. Mm-hmm. I think kids don't play because you just fail all the time.
Yeah,
right, right.
And when you make a mistake, like I've coached all sports. The problem with baseball, like soccer, kids make a mistake. Who the hell knows? Everybody running around. Nobody knows anything. Lacrosse, field hockey, this, that. But in baseball, if the ball goes through your legs, it goes through your legs. And it's right. You're right out in the middle of everything. And if you strike out, you strike out. So, yeah. I think because it's so difficult, kids don't want to play it. But I hope this helps get them back playing.
Al, I think a lot of people went into this Flyer season, expecting the worst based on what we saw from last year. Yep. Yeah, you look at the start they've gotten off to now. Is this smoke and mirrors, or could this team truly be a sleeper?
It's not smoke and mirrors, but I don't know if they can keep the RPM level up as much as they have to. And the goalie's been sensational, Carter and backup Sandstrom for that matter. But I don't know that, people say that you can't coach effort, and you can coach effort. It's not easy. Yeah. And you have to have other people coaching it with you in the locker room. They don't have a game breaker for a margin to take a breather. And to keep this pace up would be insane, especially back-to-backs or whatever, because it's a difficult task to always be that close. They beat the Blues 5-1, mostly because the Blues were horrible, but they were on the second of a back-to-back, and the Flyers outworked them, and that's what they're going to have to do. But that's a hard ask through the entirety of a season. I think what you want to do is set that culture in, that this is where the expectation is. And that's what Tortorella is here for. Like, I love this guy. I wanted him so badly to come here. I know he can be a bit of a jackass at times, but man, if I had to play, I'd want to play for a guy like him.
Is the biggest difference the guys on defense? Provorov, he's taking another step.
Well, yeah,
playing in front of it. D'Angelo, these guys playing better in front of the net.
Yeah, but some of it's just their forwards playing better. And frankly, the goalie, because he doesn't have to scramble as much as he did. And D'Angelo has been a huge difference. I know he's had some issues in the past. I love him as a player. As a guy, he's been terrific to deal with here. And, having watched him in South Jersey, he really is more. He is the one guy your eyes will go to when he's on the ice. And they really need some of that. Let's face it. You got to have some of that. When you look at teams, who do you watch on the ice? Who's the guy that's going to take you out of your seat? And it's hard. It's a hard ask to have a team that I've likened them at times. It's like there are certain teams that are just like a bunch of washing machines. They work, but ain't going anywhere. But what you don't want to do is have a whole laundromat
Yeah. That's true.
A bunch of washing machines.
You got to get some guys, and the problem is you got to live with those mistakes if they are so that the talent level is such. I guess it's like Hoskins will deal with the, deal with the hands and at first base if you hit home runs. So you got to have that plus minus on those players.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Al, it's been a pleasure. We're excited for you.
Dude, you got to come on the show more often, man.
Yeah, we need you more often.
Come on, man.
I don't know if I can take it, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I get tired of talking to these two guys all day.
Yeah. How come the white guy doesn't have glasses?
Here's why. We look so much alike, Al. I got to distinguish myself from these guys. You know that. Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Al, you're the best. Congratulations. Have fun this weekend, all right?
Yeah, congratulations, buddy.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yep.
The great Al Morgani going to
That's what it's all about, man. That's why
awesome.
I enjoy going to work every day because of him, man.
He is,
Seeing him
man,
there.
Al is understated, but smart and as funny as they come.
And pulls no punches.
No.
Yeah, and the God bless him, almost 70 years old. And when you think about it, guys like, Ray Dittinger, Merrill Reese, Angelo Cataldi, these guys are still doing what they love at 70 years old. Like I said, our fathers always said, when I hit 62 retirement age, I'm out. I'm doing this, that, and the other. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I could still do this, talking sports, with guys like you two, and when I'm 70 years old, I'm doing this all day.
Yep.
To be honest with you.
Yep. I hear you.
I know Barrett said I'm out at 55. That's because Barrett has an NFL pension. See, it's a big difference.
I will say this, man. Working with you guys, man, doesn't seem like work, man, because I'm gonna tell you what, my family, they still think, Dad, you're not working. All I hear you laughing and talking to those guys downstairs, upstairs. There's no way you're working right now. So you just up in the room. I think you're just up there, just doing whatever, but you're not working. I said, you know what? I can't. I'm not digging ditches.
Amen. There's nothing wrong with digging ditches.
It's tiring. I'm not doing that.
But I'm not built for that. I can't do it. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what? My arm is like hanging right now, man. It don't move anymore like it used to.
I hear you. All right, let's get a quickie because our next guest is ready to go. We're on a time limit, so we'll get a quickie. We'll talk to Brian Mitchell when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fall Car Fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says yes, you can. Jeff says yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say no, you can't, Jeff says yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
My wife was in an accident that changed our lives forever. She was in rehabilitation for years. She had to learn to walk again. She couldn't take care of herself. We couldn't afford a nurse. We were running out of options. One conversation with Pondley Hockey changed everything. They understood what we were going through and immediately helped us navigate the legal process. We can't thank them enough.
Pondley Hockey. Tell us your story.
The faces you know, the team you trust. The Delaware Valley's leading news program, Action News.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome back into the show, everybody. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn with you on this Thursday. Our next guest does an amazing job as both an analyst on NBC Sports Washington and also a host on 106.7 The Fan. Of course, you know him from his years playing in the NFL with both Washington, the Eagles, and the Giants as well. The one and only Brian Mitchell. B. Mitch, welcome to the show, man. How you making out?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Brian, we're good, man. We're trying to, I'm sure you're being inundated with this. We're trying to figure out exactly what's happening here with everything that's flying and coming down regarding the Washington Commanders here and the District Attorney of District of Columbia Attorney General, and what Carl Racine had to say. Essentially, this has been a full-blown cover-up by not only the team itself, but by the NFL and Roger Goodell, to try to get bilk money out of the constituents, the customers, if you will, and cover up a lot of the wrongdoings. What's the word in Washington?
Well, I think exactly that. He's basically saying that, Roger Goodell and Dan Snyder basically signed a secret deal behind the scenes as to say that we're going to have everything transparent. We're going to let you know everything. And, while still asking people for this, that, and the other, want to make sure that they get to promote the team well, get their season tickets and all that stuff signed up. But in essence, with all the information that they were gathering, they did not ever send it out to the public. So I guess Racine feels that he has to go and protect the constituents here in D.C., some of those fans that were wrong. And then, it's another thing that's floating in the background where, it was deposits that was supposed to be sent back to the guy, to a lot of fans, that stuff is starting to all of a sudden now when someone reported this when they had one of these little hearings. Now you're getting letters saying that we owe you some money, but they're trying to get people to sign NDAs in the process. So it's a lot of stuff going on. And I believe by Goodell sitting here and having that secret deal and then coming back and say, well, you know what? Dan Snyder controls all of it. How do you investigate somebody that you give all control to?
Hey, B. Mitch, let's go back to the beginning, because there are 32 NFL entities out there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Why do you think the world dropped on Washington? Why do you think so many outside entities decided to go after the Washington franchise more so than any? Because let's face it, we all know there's a whole lot of dirt behind closed doors with every franchise in the National Football League.
Well, I think when things are going on and you constantly hear and everyone keeps telling you no, it's not, and then you get so demonstrative when you go against people. I've always felt that when you get combatant against people and you say things like I will never change the name, you wake up people that don't care about what you're even talking about. Yeah. And I think the same thing has happened now, where every time something comes up, they attack the witnesses. They attack the people that are complaining. And I think a lot of people are just sick and tired of it. And now it's about, okay, so you think you can beat everybody? And I think they tried it. And I think even the NFL now recognizing that we cannot protect this and cover this guy up anymore. We need to get somebody else in place.
So is that your sense, Brian? Like we heard a couple weeks ago, he was reaching out to financiers to potentially sell the team. You think he's trying to get out before they really get him, or is it too late at this point?
I have no other thing but to believe that, because all of a sudden this comes out and then he responded and he said, you know what, we are looking at all our options, but they never said they weren't selling. Okay. Right. And then another story came out right after that. Okay. Then this story comes up yesterday, and then all of a sudden they're trying to use Brian Robinson's shooting as a cover, as a shield. Yes. It's like everything that you do seems to be wrong. They got people in place. They got this new lady, Medina, whatever her name is, supposed to be handling their consumer. I mean, all of their communications and things of that nature. She is the type of person, all she does is attack people. Well, you know what? You got a bunch of people here in this town. This is a political town.
Right.
You come in attacking, you can get attacked by every damn body. You won't be able to stand up. So I think what we're now seeing is so many people are trying to go with the mindset that we've seen in the political realm, where, you know what, let's just attack everybody. Let's just say whatever we want to say. And they think that works. Well, right now, we're finding out that eventually when you're doing wrong, it catches up with you.
All right, B. Mitch. You've seen the movie New Jack City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's my Nino Brown theory right now. All right, so it came out a few weeks ago when all this started to really heat up that according to anonymous sources, Daniel Snyder has said he has all this dirt on the commissioner, owners, coaches, current and former coaches, former current players, and that if they back him in a quarter, he's going to come out swinging. Now that this bombshell dropped today, he's backed in even more of a corner now. Okay. Do you think there's any way possible, knowing what you know about a Daniel Snyder, that he would betray the fraternity and and go under the umbrella of, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody with me?
You know what? That sounded good. It sounded like it was a good movie. But as soon as he said that, we saw one of those guys in that fraternity come right out and say, I think we should get rid of it. And what he's going to do, all my stuff is out there, and Jim Irsay.
Yeah.
So, and listen, I don't think Jim Irsay acted alone. I don't think Jim Irsay said that by himself. I think every owner out there understands Jim Irsay, his dirt is out there already.
Yeah.
So he's willing to speak. Let him speak. We're gonna support him from behind. So ultimately, they probably send him a message secretly and say, we got stuff on YouTube. Let's go.
Right.
Ooh,
yeah, it does kind of feel that way, Brian. That's for sure with everything that's been going on. How, or I'll ask you, it seems like there's always a circus going on, but do you feel like it's impacting the team presently? I'm talking present day right now.
Well, I think, as a former player, we are always taught, and we always say that nothing bothers us. We don't listen to the outside noise. You all have covered sports enough. You know that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
There was a story out today where Benjamin St. Just talked to a French newspaper, and he basically said that ever since I've gotten here, this team has had a dark cloud over it. He said this team is in need for a change. That's one person who is young, so he probably just don't know exactly how to deal with the status quo yet. So he's basically telling them that, you know what, yes. And if he said that, I have to believe they've had conversations. And I know people wonder, how does that affect the football player? Where if I'm sitting up here worried about my owner, he has to sell, I'm concerned about who's going to come in next. Am I going to get my checks and all that? And if it takes me away from doing my studies and getting ready for football just a little bit, it could be a major effect.
Hey, Brian, if you can, define what this team is or isn't right now. Obviously, the Carson Wentz experiment didn't work. Taylor Heineke gives them a little bit more juice. They're one game below sea level. You look at the last 5 games, all 5 of those games have been decided by 7 points or less. They're 3-2 in those games. What is this team or what isn't this team right now?
This team is a team that I think they're very good defensively, and I think they're very good up front. I believe that if your offensive line is anywhere good and you can nullify a little bit of what they are capable of, then I don't think the secondary holds up very well. When I look at the offense, I think that they have a problem with play calling. They don't have a consistency of what they do. I believe that the offensive line is weak. I think that they have 2 guys that can effectively run the football, but they don't stick to them long enough. And they have a lot of receivers, but they don't have the time to get the ball to the receivers. And they have quarterbacks who are inconsistent. And in Taylor Heineke, as you say, yeah, he give him a lot of juice, but at the end of the day, he's a backup. Yeah. I mean, let's be real about it. He'll go out there and throw, like the ball he threw that was a touchdown. You don't throw that football. It was 3 people there. If
the referee got them that touchdown,
other defensive back is picked off. Then he comes back and he sells the ball. Why does he sell that ball? He's a guy who throws the ball kind of flat here. And there were like 5 to 6 knockdowns. All of a sudden, what do? You start trying to throw it a little higher. And he throws off his back foot a lot because he's worried about the pressure. Ball sells. So this team is, I would say, is inconsistent because they have some good talent on this football team, but not enough to compete with the higher level teams.
How the potential of getting Chase Young back? Certainly that's an upgrade. They might have Jahan Dotson as well. How much can that impact and lift them, or is it kind of a nebulous kind of?
I think it can lift them some, but then I would wonder. This is his first time playing football since he got injured, and that's been, I think it was last week was the anniversary of that. So he's just a few days beyond a year. that he hasn't really played football. I would ask the question. You all seen guys come back from being injured. How effective will they be? Ron Rivera was asked, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, will he be on a pitch count? He said, yes, he'll be on a pitch count. I think ultimately, if he comes back, his athleticism may be able to help him do some things, but is he in football shape just yet? I doubt that very seriously.
You know, I've listened to you for years, and you have never pulled punches. Do you get much lashback from the organization for things that you've said about the team?
No. If they do it, they talk behind my back. They don't say anything in my face. I've been in everybody's face that make decisions, and they don't say anything. But I look at it like this. I think I do a well enough job of researching and talking about things that that really make sense and things I see. I don't try to get personal with any of the guys. Right. But you know what? I've made a comment to him a long time ago. If I say something that's right, that's not right, okay, and you believe it's not right, come to me and show me I'm wrong. I will go on air and apologize. But if I'm not wrong and you came at me, I will be coming back at you full force. So nobody's ever said anything to me.
Okay, all right.
Don't mess with me, Mitch. There's your lesson.
That's some mafia stuff right there.
I'm a little scared to ask a question now at this point. Brian, what are your thoughts on the Eagles, man? I mean, 8-0 start so far, and they're taking the ball away from the opponent. They're not turning the ball over to obviously big keys thus far. But what's your sense of what you've seen from them? I'm
looking at a team that, you know, coach came in and Sirianni, when he had his press conference, everybody like, who the hell is this character? But you know what? What you've learned now is that the guy can coach, okay? And he gets his guys to respond to him. Jalen Hurts, he comes in, and people say, well, he can't do this, that, and the other. But you know what? Now look at him this year. He's making a proper decision. He get the ball out of his hands rather quickly, and he runs when he needs to run. He's not just running just because now. The defense, when you lost a few people, then all of a sudden, that defense up front you have, get pressure on the quarterback rushing 4. When you can do that with a secondary that's good, you're going to be very effective. So I believe the team is for real because they now, at the quarterback position, they have a leader. Jalen may be a young dude, but you look at the way he handled the situation with Tua in college. You know, you look at the way that he handled things once he got there, and look how he carries himself. The guy works his tail off. So you have a leader and you have a bunch of guys that want to be good, you know, and I think that's the ultimate thing. I hear a lot of people tell me how great coaches are. I don't need to hear what you say about how great a coach is. All I got to do is watch how your players play for you. And I'm watching that team, and I believe Coach Sirianni is doing a damn good job because these guys respond, and they go out there and they play for him and each other.
All right, B. Mitch, I know you're short on time because you have other commitments, but I have to ask you, who do you think the biggest – we had Sal Palantonio on earlier on this show. Who do you think the biggest threat is to the Eagles in the NFC?
I still believe Dallas is the biggest threat. You know, I think I just watched Kirk Cousins and the Vikings play here last week, and I just see them as a team looking to do what he normally would do. Late in the game, just give it away. I'm looking at I don't think the 49ers are consistent enough at this point. You know, so for me, it still is the Dallas Cowboys right there in their own division.
All right, B. Mitch, thanks for the time, man.
Thank you, brother. Always.
Check them out, 106.7 The Fan, of course, NBC Sports Washington as well. Brian, thanks for a couple of minutes. Thanks for squeezing us in.
Anytime, man. Y'all take care.
Take care. That's Brian Mitchell. Yeah, look, you're right, Gunnar. He is a non-punch puller, meaning he doesn't care if you play for the team. He doesn't care what feathers are ruffled. He is going to lay it out exactly the way he sees it. You could agree, you could disagree, but he's going to give you his truth.
I've heard him make comments like, oh, and I go, oh, my goodness. But you know what? Like you just said, nobody ever comes back at him because they don't have any ground to stand on. I mean, It's not like he doesn't have to embellish stuff. I mean, he played the game a long time. He's covered that team. He still has contacts within the organization. So it's not like he's out there looking for clickbait and stuff like that. He tells it like it is. In this day and age of clickbaits and all this stuff and helping your so-called brand, that's not Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell has always told it like it is, and he always will.
No question. So obviously the big story in the NFL is the, you know, what's happening in Washington. And as we've chronicled here, the District of Columbia Attorney General, Carl Racine, has announced a civil complaint for colluding to deceive the district residents. In other words, the fans of the team, and basically saying like Daniel Snyder, the organization, Roger Goodell, and the league, you're all on call here because of this. So pretty amazing stuff right there. And we'll see again, you know, like you pointed out, will Snyder come firing back? How does all this shake out in the wind here, which we don't know right now.
Well, you know, now that the district attorney general has called out basically everybody of power in the league, you know who the first one is to fall on the sword when this happens is the commissioner. He's going to have to step forward and take all the bullets for the owners. If there's truth behind this, the owners I guarantee the owners are now talking. I don't care if it's a conference call, a Zoom, or whatever. They're all talking to Commissioner Roger Goodell now. What are you going to do to get us out of this mess?
Right.
We pay you a lot of money to get us out of these kind of messes. What are you going to do? So it's all going to come raining down on Roger. He's the one that's got to stand at the forefront of this and take a lot of the bullets, especially the media bullets that are going to be coming his way.
Yeah, well said. Well said, Derek. All right. A couple little NFL odds and ends here. You see the wristband gate with Russell Wilson?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, come on, man.
So Pete Carroll, I really don't believe that Carroll was doing it as to, take some big shot at Russell Wilson. But he said, look, we really appreciate Geno Smith, who's having such a good year, wears the wristband that you always see these guys with the plays on it, whatever. And, it's been great. And because essentially we call play in and that's what we go with. It's kind of what Carroll was saying.
Yep.
And he said, our previous quarterback didn't necessarily have a wristband and he was not always open to things, whatever. I'm paraphrasing what he said. But then, of course, naturally, the Denver media follows up with Russell Wilson. He's like, he won a lot of games for a guy not wearing a wristband, which is a pretty good response by Russell Wilson. I got to tell you.
True.
But it's so classic, just like a big nothing burger as far as I'm concerned.
And you know what? He diffused it real quick. I mean, some guys might have carried it on and they've gone back and forth. He tried to diffuse it real quick. I mean, which kudos to him for being smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to fall into that media trap.
Yeah. And look, he's so media savvy. No surprise there with, when it comes to Russell Wilson, that's for sure.
No.
So a couple other things to hit here. So, Matthew Stafford is in concussion protocol. When you're talking about a Rams team that's got a very razor thin margin for error at this point with the way that they've started. And they need every single win that they can get. So they have this upcoming week, they have the Cardinals. Oh. Now, right. I'm with you with the Cardinals, but it's an important game in their division because if you look at it from their standpoint, they enter at 3-5. The Cardinals are 3-6.
Yeah.
If you have any hope of getting into the postseason, you better start stringing together some wins consistently, and they haven't done it all year.
The good thing for the Rams is the NFC is so down right now that 3-5 doesn't look that bad, considering where the rest of the conference is.
Yeah.
The bad thing is if your franchise quarterback is not playing this Sunday against that division opponent, and even though Arizona is not that good, without Matthew Stafford, I don't think the Rams have a prayer of beating Arizona. I really don't. And you go 3-6 and you lose a tiebreaker to a team like Arizona. You already lose the tiebreaker to San Francisco. They've beaten you twice already. Your season is basically over.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
even at 3-6, your season is over because there's too many tiebreakers you lose.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Their backups are Bryce Perkins and John Walford.
What?
What? Yeah. Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep. So you better hope Stafford stays healthy.
Oh, my goodness.
So not pretty there. The Raiders are not only going to be without Darren Waller going on the IR, Hunter Renfrow is going on the IR too with an oblique.
Oh, geez.
They're doomed, man. That is just a wrap.
I blame you and Barrett for a lot of things. You get Phillies players fired. He's decimated the Raiders. I mean, there's another team. I mean, no Darren Waller, now no Hunter Renfrow. You already have dissension on the team.
Yep.
Your $141 million wide receiver is chirping now.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thought, including us, we thought the Raiders were going to be a viable playoff candidate. They have 2 wins?
Yep.
Through the first 9 weeks of the season.
It's been horrible.
And now
right there
prime
with the
players,
most disappointing teams.
Oh my goodness. And now their primetime players are dropping like flies.
Yep. It's ugly, man. It's ugly. Hey, Josh Allen does not practice today for the Bills. I think this is setting up as at least a game, potentially 2, where they just shut him down. No matter what he wants to do, they're not going to let him. I wouldn't let him play with that elbow.
Well, I you know what? And that's a smart move. Whatever's going on with that elbow, that's a smart move. Unfortunately, if he doesn't play, now you're opening the door for Miami and even the Jets to overtake you in a lot of ways. You've already lost to Miami, and you've already lost to the Jets. And now if your franchise quarterback is out for a game or two at a crucial juncture of the season, that doesn't bode well for their team. As talented as that team is, I mean, let's face it, they've already lost the Pro Bowl safety for the year, Micah Hyde. Yeah. Their other Pro Bowl safety, Jordan Poyer, has been in and out with injuries. You haven't been as dominant as everybody saw you being the last couple of weeks. And now you're going through this with your quarterback.
Woo.
That's why when you bring it closer to home and look at this Eagles team and they're still standing and they're relatively healthy, hey man, knock on wood. Knock on wood for where they are right now.
I know that's the biggest thing for me, man. It's they have been really, really healthy so far. I mean, think about the only real I don't know. Well, it's for the season at least was Derek Barnett, which, let's face it. Yeah, he's from a depth perspective, it hurts you, but that's other than that, you'll take it. You'll take it.
Hey, Jonelle Julian brings up this question again. It's one of the questions he asked earlier.
Yeah, and you guys can fire away with your questions. We didn't get to earlier. Hey, D.
I think it's a good question.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on an NFC executive saying the Eagles are one and done in the playoffs? You know what? I guess the first thing I would say is what are the circumstances surrounding that? Like what is the rationale behind them being a one and done? Is it you don't believe in Jalen Hurts? Is it you don't believe in this run defense? Because we haven't seen anything statistically or really the way that they performed that would lead you to believe that. So I would love to know what the rationale behind it is.
Well, I would think it starts with, first of all, you're feasting on a weak schedule. I think it starts there. And I think if an executive makes that, they see something on the team that they think is a weak link on this team that maybe we've overlooked. And when you think about it, if they wrap up the number one seed, they're going to sit at home while the other teams battle to see who plays them next. People always talk about, hey, when you're idle for that 1 week, sometimes it can come back and bite you.
Yeah.
And we don't know how soon they're going to wrap up. If things continue to go the way they are, we don't know how soon they're going to wrap up the number one seed. Number one. Number two, at what point do you start calling off the dogs and playing your reserves? And if you do that, how rusty could your frontline players be if you give them too much time off? But if you decide you're going to play them, especially against teams that are still jockeying for playoff positioning or teams and players that are playing for jobs for next year, you could put your frontline players in harm's way if you continue to play them. So it's a tricky situation to be in, in a lot of ways. But we've seen so many teams in the past when they wrap things up, they're seating up, they start pulling players, and they go. That seems to be the trend. So we have to see how it plays itself out.
Well, I think the chat. Look, it's good to be in this position, but if you're, let's say, this applies to the undefeated thing, and also even if you're not undefeated, but if you have it wrapped up and there's 2 games left, I think you're really pushing it, not playing your starters for 2 weeks. And then you may have a bye. That would be 3 weeks until the playoffs start. I would never do that, Derek. I'm playing these guys at least a half in both of those games. And I have to risk the injury thing. I got to do it.
I know. I'm 100% with you, Rob. You can't let these guys sit too long because rust does set in. But it's you got to hold your breath every time that ball is snapped. All 11 of your guys on both sides of the ball get up. And we've seen some freaky accidents happen. You look at a Brandon Graham last year. He gets hurt on a non-contact. Basically, Achilles is gone. Mm-hmm. We've seen time and time again through training camp and through games. All these non-contact injuries due to this fake surface has caused a lot of ankle and knee injuries as well. But to keep your guys sharp, to keep the iron sharp, you got to play them to a certain degree. You've got to look any game that doesn't affect where you are in the standings. You have to look at like it's that middle preseason game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where your guys, that's the most they're going to play in the preseason. And then you're calling off the dogs to preserve them for what's to come. And I think that's the approach you have to take in this scenario. If after week 15, you've locked up the number one seed, you still have 2 games to play. You have to strategically pick and choose how much they're going to play in those last 2 games before you get them out of there, just to get them some reps, just to let them work up a sweat to keep that edge to them.
Yeah. And I am one. I said this yesterday. I would play them. If the Eagles are undefeated, I would certainly at least give them a half.
Yeah.
I get the argument that people make saying you'd rather see them lose, give them a little adversity, sort of reset everything or whatever. But I don't know, man. How do you do that? How do you really go out there and, I don't know, try to hope your team lose? You go out there and you play your hardest, and however the chips fall, they fall.
I don't think teams are as concerned nowadays, Rob, about trying to equal what the Miami Dolphins did in that perfect season. Their ultimate goal, number one, get to the playoffs. Number two, get to the big game. And as we saw in that game this past season with the Rams and Cincinnati, let the chips fall where they may. That game could have gone either way. A play here, play there. Cincinnati's hoisting the trophy instead of the Rams. And I think that's the most important thing with organizations now. Hey, that 17-0 record, 20-0 record looks nice, but is it worth putting our players at risk before we get to the big show? I don't think that's a big concern. I don't know if that record will ever be broken. The Patriots team was the closest that ever came. And think about how long ago that was. And they got knocked off by the Giants in the Super Bowl, one of the biggest shockers of the Super Bowl era. So I don't think that's a big concern about going undefeated anymore.
All right. Let's do our NFC power rankings, Derek. We did the AFC yesterday. We'll do the NFL tomorrow. All right. You go first. Let's work our way up from 5 to 1. We know Barrett does not like that, but that's what we'll do since Barrett's.
I know. My number.
He had to duck you out a little bit early for some other responsibilities.
Yeah. My number 5 team is San Francisco.
Okay.
Number 1 defense. Number 8 in passing. Number 1 against the run. Number 6 in points allowed is 18.4. That small sample that we've seen of Christian McCaffrey in that offense, I think it put that offense over the hump.
Yeah.
Once Debo's healthy again and to go with George Kittle and that power running game, I put San Francisco. I think San Francisco is the team that everybody else has to watch the most. We make light of the fact, they're only 4-4. Mm-hmm. But this is a different 4-4 team. They can go to knuckle junction with anybody in the NFC in terms of physicality.
Sure.
Okay.
I agree.
So my number 4 team is Seattle. They have been a pleasant surprise. And every week we wait for them to lose a game. They just keep on winning. And they're doing it in impressive fashion.
Better defense, too. They're playing much better on defense.
The last 4 weeks, their defense has been much better. And, of course, they have the leading tackler in the National Football League.
Jordan Brooks. See, you learn something new every day, Derek.
Exactly. We never stop learning in this business.
Right.
Number 3 is Dallas. Number 2, Minnesota. Number 1, the Eagles.
Okay.
Those are my 5.
All right. I'm going to go 5 is Seattle for me.
Okay.
And part of that is I give them absolute props, but part of it is, okay, just let me fully see this a little bit longer. But so far, so good. I go Vikings 4. If I'm being honest, I'm not even fully sold on them, but how can I ignore a team with 1 loss? It's hard to ignore that and not get them in the top 5. The last 3 are the teams that I really believe in, and it's the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
Yep.
And the reason I considered the Giants strongly. I could have maybe made a case for them, but I don't know if I could justify them over the way Seattle's playing of late. I think the 49ers getting fully healthy, getting McCaffrey more acclimated into the system, I think are just going to get better. Ultimately, could Jimmy G be their downfall in, say, an NFC Championship game? Yeah, possibly, for sure.
Yeah.
Dallas is really good, especially with Dak Prescott back. And I know we don't want to admit it. We don't want to, say that's the case, but it is the case. And I'm going to be curious to see how they progress here with Dak Prescott and if Mike McCarthy ultimately isn't the cog in the wheel here and hurt them in a playoff setting. Because I just think he falls asleep at the wheel in big spots. So he would be the concern for me with the Cowboys.
Just don't let him get Odell Beckham, please.
Oh.
Do not let them get Odell Beckham in a Dallas uniform, please.
Well, it feels like Jerry Jones is doing everything he can to make that happen.
Yeah.
The not so subtle. He looked great in the star, and all that. I mean,
that
come
stuff.
On,
I couldn't put the Giants on the list because Seattle smoked them. Seattle beat them, but not just beat them by 2 touchdowns.
They handled them. That's the last time the Giants played because they had the bye last week.
There you go. Now, did Seattle explode? Did Seattle expose something on the Giants that other teams will pick up. It's a copycat league. So I guarantee you now this week, the Giants play Houston, and I fully expect the Giants to win that game. But going down the road, did Seattle expose something on the Giants? You held the Giants at 13 points.
Yeah.
You shut down Saquon Barkley. What did Seattle do that other teams are going to try to pick up on? And that's going to be interesting to see. We keep saying we expect the Giants to level off at some point, and could this be the start of them leveling off? Even if they beat Houston, you got to watch how they play, how they respond, because they've had 2 weeks now to let this simmer, how they got handled in Seattle. So let's see how they respond against a Houston team that's not a good team, but a team that gave the Eagles fits for 3 quarters.
Yeah, they're not good, but they don't quit, which means that there's the chance that they could be hanging around in this thing, and then you never know when you let a bad team hang around.
Well, one thing Houston can do is run the football.
Yes.
So that could make the game a lot closer than it should be also.
Yeah.
How does Daniel Jones and that offense respond against this Houston defense? A defense that gave the Eagles fits for much of that game.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to watch and see how they come out of that.
Absolutely.
So that's why I couldn't put the Giants on my list.
Let me circle back to the Washington thing. I thought this was an interesting quote. This is from JP Finlay, who's NBC Sports Washington, who we've had on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted out, you can follow him at JP FINLAY NBCS. So he tweeted out earlier today. This is before everything really came down. But he said, and I meant to get to this earlier. He said, throughout the Dan Snyder drama, the Commanders players have done a good job of trying to block it out this year. He's talking about, but I've heard it's different now. Players are mad. Mad lawyers try to use Brian Robinson, a rookie, in their rebuttal to business issues. Might not say it publicly, but guys are pissed. So I wonder if this doesn't really start to come, apart on them soon. And if by soon, could that potentially be this week when the Eagles play them on Monday night? Just food for thought, because I think they had, to Rivera's credit, the players' credit, I think they put a lid on it so far, but I think that lid's about to go pretty soon.
The best thing about this happening is it came at the end of the week instead of the beginning of the week, where media has even more so limited access to the players getting closer to the game. So they can focus on this game. But starting next week, when the barrage of questions start about the allegations that have come out from the Attorney General's office, how will that affect the team? If I'm a player, I'm playing for my teammates no matter what. I make a lot of money to play this game at the highest level possible. And if you go out there and play half-heartedly, what happens? You get hurt. Okay, I don't think they want that to happen. It's a division game. They're on Monday night. They don't want to be embarrassed by this team. They would like to be, like everybody else, would like to be the first team to knock the Eagles off their perch a little bit, that undefeated perch. And because it's a division game and because of how they got manhandled by the Eagles earlier in the season, I think they have all the mojo they should want to play the game to the best of their ability. I don't think it will affect them this week, but coming up after this game, depending on the outcome of this game Monday night, if they get blown out Monday night, they're going to be ticked off and embarrassed because they got blown out. And then, of course, this is going to come back about the Brian Robinson thing being attached to the team's rebuttal. And that's when I think it starts to unravel.
Okay. All right. Should be interesting. We'll get a timeout here, Derek. We'll come back. We'll roll into our final segment. We'll continue with the football discussion, pay tribute to a great sportscaster who we lost, and get into a bunch of other stuff, including birthdays and movies. Don't want to go anywhere. Derek and I will be right back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So, do you have any type of tree issues in your yard or your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees and serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, storm and hurricane season are upon us. Now is a great time to get your trees evaluated. Make sure you don't have any issues with some branches coming down, etc. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. That's 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, rolling into the final segment of the show. So
the show has flown by, man.
I know, man. It's been a good show. We've had Sal Palantonio on, Al Morgani on, and Brian Mitchell on. So if you missed any of it, you can go back and check out the interviews in their entirety or portions of it on JAKIBsports.com and JAKIB YouTube Network. I saw this one. I was bummed out yesterday when I saw this. Fred Hickman passed away at the age of 66. For people who may not be familiar, he was a sports anchor for a very long time at CNN. Back when CNN and Sports Center on ESPN were kind of dueling for late night highlight shows, and he did a phenomenal job with Nick Charles. Those two were a great team.
Absolutely.
And both guys, unfortunately, are no longer around. But
isn't that something?
It's sad.
Young men. I mean,
yeah, it's sad. Fred was the consummate pro. He was just smooth, man. He was really good and just a really strong, just broadcaster. I guess is the best way I could put it. He was really good. I was just, I watched him a lot as a kid growing up, and was part of the reason why I wanted to get into the business. So, just want to pass it along.
Wow. And he worked for TNT. Worked as an anchor and managing editor for the Black News Channel that went belly up earlier this year as well. So he's had a lot of prominent jobs in his team. It's a shame to see him gone at the age of 66. Wow.
I know. And it's too bad, but he was good. He worked at ESPN. He worked at Yes Network. So yeah. But yeah, he was a guy, but this is before there were phones. It was basically newspapers, and then you had your highlight shows. So you were getting it for the first time. Like that game you watched on the West Coast, that was the first time you were seeing that. You couldn't just check it out on your phone. So it was a different era, but he was excellent at what he did, man. That's for sure. Justin Verlander is opting out of his $25 million deal that he would have gotten this year. It's a player option. The word on the street is he will get multiple years for, at least $30 million.
39 years old, and he opted out of a $25 million deal. Think about that for a moment. 39 years old.
Yep. Not many players have that kind of options. Those kind of options.
And even though his World Series, his history record is less than stellar, there's going to be a number of teams lining up to add him to their arsenal because he's been great. Yep. Again, he's the leading candidate for the American League Cy Young Award this year. So there's going to be a lot of teams lining up for his services, even if he only signed a 2-year deal somewhere else. You imagine him pitching away and throwing 97, 98 at 41 years old. Haven't seen that since the days of Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. I tell you what's amazing, the way some guys respond to Tommy John and some don't.
Yeah.
And it's just some of it's just human nature. It's just physical, your physical makeup or whatever. But like Noah Syndergaard is now a nibbler. Like he's got to paint the corners with the way that he pitches, where he was the ultimate power pitcher. But Tommy John took that away from him. Verlander hasn't skipped a beat, and he's way older than Syndergaard. It's just everybody responds differently to things.
The human body is a fascinating thing. And how we respond to a lot of different things in terms of healing when it comes to like cuts or, something even more bones mending.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different that we all heal and how some heal more rapidly than others. And of course they say, well, when you get older, it takes a little bit longer for you to heal. And like you just said, sometimes athletes come back even stronger than what they were before they got injured. Some don't, some do, and Verlander is one of those guys that came back much stronger.
He did. There's no question about that. The Lakers lose again last night to the Clippers. They are now, Derek, off to their tied for the worst start in team history at 2-9.
What a mess that team is. How did that front office allow the Lakers to get that bad? How?
Well, and the other thing is, and to add insult to injury again here, LeBron's getting his groin tested. He's had some issues with his groin over the last few years, and he could be on the shelf for a little bit, but they rolled the dice on an older team. They gambled that was all going to work out. And they basically with the thought process, we can just roll a ball out with LeBron and Anthony Davis and we'll fill in the pieces around them. Sometimes it's not that simple.
No. You spend so much money on those two. I guess you didn't have much left over for everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm looking at they're second last in the Western Conference. I can't tell you the last time I've seen a Lakers team second last. In a conference like that. Now I'm looking at their roster. Okay, Anthony Davis makes just under $38 million for this year.
Right.
LeBron makes $44.5 million for this year.
What's Westbrook making?
Russell Westbrook, get this, $47 million.
Yep.
For this year.
Yep. 3 incredibly bloated salaries. Not that LeBron, obviously we know what LeBron is, and Anthony Davis, when he can stay healthy, is really good. But I mean, it's hard to win that way when you have 3 salaries that account for that much of the cap.
Well, they brought Patrick Beverly in, and I thought he would give them an edge that they were missing because you saw how Beverly played when he was with the Clippers and with Minnesota.
Yeah,
I thought he would give them their edge. They got him at a bargain basement price for $13 million. So you got four players that are making big money, and everybody else on that roster makes less than $6.5 million. Mm-hmm. But you got a lot of guys on the roster make 1.8, 1 million. 1.8, 2.2, 5.2, 1.5, so they went all in on 4 players. There's no balance. There's no balance on that team. No, there's no middle class on that team.
Nope.
And it's starting to show. Well, it has shown in their play all season long.
Now I'm watching last night the debate on ESPN had the Lakers and the Clippers were the late game. The early game was Brooklyn and the Knicks, and Brooklyn destroyed the Knicks. Yep. But the debate prior to the Brooklyn game from the panel, Jalen Rose and Wilbon and Greenberg, I forget who else was there. But the big debate was, should the Lakers trade LeBron?
Ooh.
And again, I think some of this comes down to, does LeBron just want to continue to live in LA? Not that he wouldn't go back to living there. I'm saying, just does he not want to, finish up somewhere else? I don't know, man. If you're him and you truly want to win another one, and you're them and you're going nowhere, I would destroy that thing. I'd sell everybody. If nobody's going to take Westbrook off your hands, but I would try and move Davis. I'd try and move LeBron, etc. If I were them, again, I think LeBron, it comes down to his mindset. Is he just comfortable where he's at? Or does he still want to win another one? I don't know. It's a $1 million question.
So you're saying you would basically Utah the Lakers?
Yes.
Yeah. At this point,
I would.
You've gone as far as you could go with this nucleus. It's time to start over.
I mean, can you be better than 2-9? Yeah, but are you? Yeah, I don't think you're even a playoff team. So
I don't
what's
either.
The point?
Can you get 2 first-round picks for LeBron at this stage of his career?
I don't know. And who could take on that salary?
What are you going to get? What are you getting for Anthony Davis? A second-round pick at the most? You think he's worth a first-round pick?
I think he's worth a first-round pick. Yes.
So at the very minimum,
me is he's hurt all the time.
Yeah. So at the very minimum, you should get a first round for LeBron, a first round for Anthony Davis. Now, I don't even know what the future draft status is like. I don't know how many first rounds they have right now. But if the Lakers can look on paper and say, you know what? We have 4 first-round picks next year and 6 over the next 2 years.
Right.
I've got to gut this thing because I think the fan base will buy in. Okay, it's time to go in a different direction. Let's see what the future holds for this team. If you have 4 first-round picks next year and then 2 the following year or even 1 the following year, you got 5 first-round picks in 2 years of drafting. You can't miss this. It's not like the NFL. Usually the NBA is a little bit more of a sure thing.
Yeah.
The NFL, there's been too many first-round busts that we've had to watch when you're talking about 32 teams.
Right.
I don't know. I might take that risk. LeBron, thank you for your services. Goodbye.
I would. I absolutely would. Now, I don't know. I'm likely not doing it this early. It's going to, they're going to wait it out a little bit to see if they get this thing turned around, but I wouldn't wait real long.
No. You got to do it now because the longer you wait, the more the price tag goes down. And, of course, now you got to wait to find out exactly what's going on with this groin injury with LeBron. So that might even handcuff you in terms of what you might get in return for him.
Yeah, true.
You can't afford to have egg on your face and just give him away. And all of a sudden, once that groin heals, he's LeBron of 5 years ago again. So you're handcuffed.
So a couple other things here. I mentioned this earlier. The Phillies off season, we're trying to hash it all out, figure it out. Bryce Harper, they're going to reevaluate him on Monday and then figure out exactly what the course of action is going to be. Derek, I'd be shocked if there isn't surgery of some manner involved here.
Well,
he had 2 of those PCP shots and or whatever they're called, and it didn't seem to do anything either time.
No, you got to address this now so he's ready for spring training. And then again, depending on the severity of the surgery, you don't know if he's going to be coming out of spring, if he's going to be ready for the start of spring training. But if he's not, at least there's a more definitive possibility of him being ready to start the regular season as your right fielder instead of your DH again. So hopefully, Bryce Harper and his management team are smart enough to attack this thing and the organization to push it to get him to address this now. Whatever you're going to do it now instead of waiting until late December, early January to do it.
Okay. All right, let's do some birthdays, and then I'm going to swing it back to some Eagles and get a little bit more into the Washington matchup itself. There's been we talked a lot about Washington for other things besides the field, but they are getting healthier. All right, birthdays. So let's start with this one. Tracy Morgan, 54 years old.
Yep.
Amazing he's still with us after that terrible accident.
And still doing stand-up comedy.
He still is. You're right. Sinbad, who you don't hear much or see much from anymore, man. 66 years old.
Wow.
He had a run. He had a run in the 80s and 90s.
Had his own sitcom.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was on the Cosby Show a bunch of times too back in the day. Ellen Pompeo, who of Grey's Anatomy, is 53 years old. That show's been on, I think, for about 48 years now.
I know. My wife still loves that show.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's still on.
And every time I walk by the TV, I'm like, I can't believe the show's still on TV. How many storylines can you come up with?
Right. God bless the writers, man.
Exactly.
Very creative. Miranda Lambert, the country singer, is 39. See the Country Music Awards last night, and Peyton Manning was one of the co-hosts.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to see much. I saw the one thing. He took a little shot at Eli. It was pretty funny. He's like, I'm the whoever it was that was hosting with it was like, I'm just winging it up here. And Peyton was like, I'm used to that. I work with my brother once a week on the Manning cast. It's pretty funny. Taron Egerton, who played Elton John in Rocket Man, and he's been in a bunch of different things.
Kingsman. He was in the movie Kingsman, the Secret Service.
Yeah, and I'm drawing a blank. He was in a really good miniseries that I watched based on a true story about a guy who was a drug dealer who went in and infiltrated the serial killer in jail, and it was really good, really good. And he was the lead. He was excellent in it. So he's 33 years old. Brittany Murphy, who passed away at a very young age, actress, was born on this day in 1977. She was in 8 Mile. Yeah. Yep. Richard Burton, the actor, was married twice to Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
Born on this day in 1925.
One of the greatest actors in the history of acting.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yep. He was phenomenal. Roy Scheider, who was played Captain or Chief Brody in Jaws.
Yeah.
Was born on this day in 1932. I mean, as good as it got in that role. He was unbelievable, man.
It's a reason. And that movie think about this. That movie came out in 1972.
Is it that old?
I think so. 72, 75, something like that. And one of the main reasons why I don't go in the water above my knees anymore.
I think that summer, a lot of people were scared out of the ocean, I think.
They were. They were. And now the shark attacks around the world have increased for whatever reason. They talk about the ocean current shifting and all this stuff. You don't have to worry about me going out in the ocean further than my knees. If I can't see the bottom of the sand, I don't need to be there.
I'm not a deep in the ocean guy either, so I'm with you, shockingly. Michael Jai White, who I think is a really good actor, is 55 years old. Everything he's in, that guy's entertaining.
Did you know that he is the first African-American to portray a major comic book hero in a movie?
No.
I didn't know that until I did some research on him. Yes. I would have thought, if you had asked me that question, I would have thought a whole bunch of different people. But he is the first African-American to play a major comic book hero in a movie.
Good for him. I did not know that. Walton Goggins, who's a really good character actor. He was in the show like The Shield and a bunch of other stuff. He's 51. He's good in everything he's in.
Yep.
Eve, the Philadelphia singer, rapper, and entertainer. She is 44 years old today. Teddy Bridgewater is 30. It feels like he should be older than that.
I know. He looks older.
Man, I would have said 34 with him, somewhere in that range. But that's all I got. Birthdays. What else do you have?
You got the DJ Diplo, who's 44.
Yeah. Yep.
Josh Peck, who was in the remake of the movie Red Dawn.
Okay.
That movie got trashed. I think the movie made only like 54 million when it was like over 65 million in production cost. So that was a bottoms up movie. I thought the remake, for me, the remake was better than the original.
The original's okay.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Swayze, the original, I believe.
It was a good cast, and it was a different time when it was much more Cold War sort of fear out there too.
Yes.
The original.
Yeah. You have Mackenzie Foy, who was in the Twilight Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing here? Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Oh, nice pull there. Yeah.
He's a Pittsburgh native.
Yeah, he is.
He's 59. You have Les Miles, who won a national championship with LSU back in 2007. And then there's Mackenzie Phillips, 63. And what a tragedy her life was, man, with the alcohol and drug addiction. And she got fired twice from her show, one day at a time.
Yeah.
The producers fired her one time. She went to rehab. They brought her back because they wanted her back. She had a even worse cocaine addiction. They finally fired her for good, And
she was a mess. I think she got it together, but it was rough for a long time with her, man.
But that's it. That's
okay.
it.
All right, movies. Polar Express on this day in 2004. Strong one there. Tom Hanks. 1989, My Left Foot with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Never saw that one.
It's based on a true story, which is pretty amazing.
Okay.
But he's super intense, that guy, man. Anything he does is good. Men of Honor, which is really good. Cuba Gooding Jr., De Niro. Yep. 2002 or 1, like chicken scratch. 1982 Creep Show, one of your favorites.
Never watched it. Never saw it. Never watched it.
Yes. You got any other movies?
No, that's it. That's it, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple things on Washington. We didn't really get a chance to get too much into the nitty gritty with B Mitch there, but they are getting healthy. They're getting Chase Young back, and it looks like Jahan Dotson back. So
that's not good.
Yeah, the thing that we've talked about this a lot. They have a pretty darn good defensive line.
Yep.
And they have a pretty good receiving core. Now, the Eagles' offensive line is good. We know, but Jordan Mailata struggled a little bit. And who knows? I'm sure it's going to be a very limited pitch count for Chase Young if he does play. And Jihad Dotson hasn't played in a long time. However, when you talk about him and Samuel and McLaurin,
yeah,
that's a good three.
That's a good matchup for this Eagles secondary. And I think Taylor Heineke gives them a much better chance to compete than Carson Wentz ever did. I don't know if Taylor Heineke can win this game, but I think he'll keep them in this game to make it at least entertaining from start to finish.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that, the Eagles are heavy favorites again. I think it was
10.5 or 11,
10.5
something like
or
that.
11. Yeah, I'll pull it up. But I know Sal gave us the stat earlier how the Eagles, I think in all but 2 games have won by double digits. Like they're usually that team. The Eagles are 11-point favorites. I would probably grab the points, thinking this could be like a 7 or 10-point game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If I was betting it, you know. And look, the good thing from an Eagles perspective is they're very well rested. They're going to have 11 days off.
Yes. And they're playing at home.
True.
Yeah. It's not a road trip. This is the home game for them. And they know it's a big divisional game. And, I'm sure it's been beating their heads what they did to Washington last time, but Washington's a different team now. I don't think they're a team that can compete with the Eagles because whereas the Eagles have a whole team, Washington still has sums and parts of a team. Their D-line is decent, good running back, quarterback's iffy, great collection of receivers. The back end, like Brian Mitchell said, if the front seven can put pressure on the quarterback, it's a much more even game, as they were able to do against Minnesota, because the back end of their defense is not that good.
Right.
So it's, pick your poison. What are you going to attack with this Eagles team? Because whatever you attack, they're going to come back and attack what you don't have.
Well, I mean, that's my thing. Like, you look at the rushing numbers the last time they played. I mean, maybe that's because Washington did a good job, and maybe it's just that the Eagles knew they could kill them in the air, and they did kill them in the air.
Oh yeah.
I don't really care how you win, honestly. Like, I don't get caught up in that stuff. And this could be a game where they throw.
Keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling.
That's it, man. So Eagles, we'll dig a little bit more into that matchup, and we're going to do our full-blown NFL rankings tomorrow as well. We'll be coming off a Sixers game and a Flyers game, so we'll recap that. We'll keep you posted on where the Phillies are, all that good stuff. So we'll have Barrett back tomorrow as well. All right. Want to thank everybody in the chat section. Everybody, Jaws was 75, by the way. Jaws was 75.
Okay, I said 72 or 75. I couldn't remember. Yeah.
But thank everybody for watching, everybody for listening, everybody for streaming, and don't go anywhere because you have the National Football Show with Dan Cilio, and again, Derek Barrett and I back tomorrow at noon with Sports Take. Appreciate you watching, everybody.
Friday.
Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you Friday.
It's a fall car fest, and Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, says, yes, you can. Jeff says, yes, you can choose from over 1,000 vehicles in stock with no wait. Yes, you can still get low prices, leases, and big discounts. Yes, you can still get low interest financing. And Jeff always says, yes, you can have a real deal buying experience without the hassle. When the other dealers say, no, you can't, Jeff says, yes, you can. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Jeep Adventure Days.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh,